following a link in the chat, or by going to extralife.org and searching for Open for Adventure.
Let's do that.
We're also running an all-day giveaway for a legendary bundle from D&D Beyond. To enter, just follow the Rafflecopter link in the chat. Hey! Welcome to Open for Adventure's 24-hour marathon stream. We've signed up for Extra Life, and we're raising money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. If you can donate, please do so. You can help us meet our fund.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hey. And we're here.
Jeez, that was on me.
No worries. We could just be here.
We're here, guys.
Welcome to the stream.
We'll play that video again during the break.
So yeah, welcome to a delightful Cotillion, a Pride and Prejudice and Zombies style game of D&D 5e. So how about we go around in a circle? I'll start, and then we'll move on to Ambrose Dankworth and introduce your characters. So hi everybody. I'm Morgan. I'm going to be the DM for this game, and yeah, we have some fun.
I'm Dan, and I'm playing Ambrose Dankworth III.
I'm Connor, and I'm playing Lorelei Adler.
My name is Juan Carlos, and I will be playing Vendi Valdisanto.
Okay, first of all, I love that voice, Juan Carlos. Thank you. I needed that in my day-to-day. Hello there. I'm Aaron. I'll be playing Nicholas Sweet, Bard Extraordinaire.
All right. So we've got our wonderful cast of characters. You are all from the county of Sussex. You're all varying levels of nobility, and as such, you have been trained in the ways of combat, because the world is not a particularly nice place. It is the undead plague has ravaged England as well as much of the continent. There are zombies, and they are a problem. The common folk who work the land constantly get turned and also provide constant fodder for the zombies. The aristocracy does their best to keep the hordes at bay, training their sons and daughters to be weapons of righteous fury. To be bitten and turned is one of the biggest faux pas and disgrace upon a family name. You, as members of the aristocracy, are part of keeping the darkness at bay. That being said, one cannot forget about manners, decorum, and country or city balls. There are rules to follow, but also love to be found. So this is Dungeons and Dragons in Regency era England. You have all been invited to the kind of society, the opening of society party for a young woman named Shishito Papyrus. She is the only daughter of a very notorious privateer, Commander Robert the Scotch Bonnet Papyrus. He and his ship, the Sweet Nothing, are kind of the bane of the Spanish fleets, and are quite capable at also helping deal with the hordes along the coast. She has elected, Shishito has elected, to have her coming out party in London, which is incredibly dangerous and incredibly foolish. It is the highest concentration of people. It's the place where the most kind of breakouts of the plague happen. It is not abandoned, but all but. The king still resides there and kind of holds the country in place with his staunch defense of London, but it is not a great place. As such, though, you are on your way to this delightful cotillion. you are all sharing a carriage ride on the way there, and you've got some time to kind of talk about what you hope to do, what you hope to see. You know that there will be quite a few lords and ladies of age, of similar age to you here. And there may be some people who you have met or even courted before. So you've got some time kind of in the carriage on the way to London. What would you like to do?
So we're in the carriage now on our way all together?
Yes.
Okay. I will bet you all many pesetas that I will find the most bella of all the ball.
I would accept that bet if I weren't already standing right here.
No, Nicolas.
Or sitting,
I
as
said-
the
I
case
said-
may be.
Nicolas, I said a bella.
Oh, I couldn't understand it through your thick...
From where I come from, that means very pretty. No offense.
Do not find him pretty.
I don't find me pretty. I'm not pretty at all. I'm fabulous.
I find you very pretty.
Well, thank you very much.
Very much more fabulous.
As you are kind of chatting along, the countryside is going by, and the evening is starting to set in. You left kind of midday. It is now getting to be late afternoon, and as such, the driver kind of knocks on the kind of door and opens it a little bit and says, "All right, folks, if you could just be on watch, that would be wonderful. We are entering some of the dangerous country. There's been rumors of werewolf separatists in the area."
Werewolf. I'm not scared of werewolf. The DeSantos have been fighting many a creature for many a centuries.
That said,
Werewolves don't... No,
we
sorry,
do
go ahead.
appreciate the warning. Although we are all capable fighters.
I'm the most capable. I'm the greatest swordsman
I'm
who ever
sure
lived.
you are.
That may be true, Nicholas.
I have been fighting separatists since I was but a wee lad.
Okay. I will keep that in mind.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And he shuts the little kind of in between slider, and you feel the cart start to kind of like pick up pace. Your driver is definitely worried.
Senor, not so fast.
I am being jostled about.
This is not a very pleasant ride.
If you think this is jostling, you've never been on the high seas.
You are
Mr.
correct, sir. I have
Sweetheart,
not.
I have not. We come from the countryside. We ride on horseback.
Horses. Ha!
Oh, who doesn't like a good horse?
Senor, you have not slowed down.
And
Senor?
no response.
Okay, senor, I will. Okay. And I'm gonna pop my head out just a little bit if I can, from if there's a window or like a curtain,
Yeah.
to see why he has not stopped or slowed down at least.
You see that he's still in his seat, but I mean he is just getting these horses going.
How far away is he from me? Can I like reach over and like tap his shoulder or anything? Or
Yeah, you'd be able to reach through at least the kind of like partition and tap him.
con permiso, senor. Can you not hear me?
No, we need to keep up speed.
But I do not see why.
Well, and then you hear it on the wind.
Oh, mucho perdón, senor. I understand.
And you see him. As he hears this, he gets the horses going even faster.
So I talked to the driver. Yeah, it'll be a bumpy ride.
So I heard, Vanderbilt.
Oh, you heard
Sounds
that.
to me like you've made them angry.
I'm sorry, but made who?
The Awoos.
Oh, the awoos. Oh, I do not believe it was me. That is a lot of blame coming from you to me.
Well, the inclination that they are always angry.
Mr. Dankworth, that is very true.
He's very true. I'm merely giving you a hard time, Vendible.
Oh, I see. From where you come from, this is camaraderie.
Of a sort, yes.
I see, I see. Well, you may continue.
You're damn well right, I may continue.
As your banter kind of increases, you start to hear the howls getting louder. If you all want to just go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Huckadaki. I
Natural
don't
20.
have nothing.
Nice.
That was just a 12. No,
19.
13.
And Nicholas?
That's a 7.
Okay. Well, I mean, as a group, I mean, you all had started to hear the werewolves. Lorelei, you in particular, you hear 3 distinct howls. Like there's at least 3 different werewolves that are chasing down this carriage, and you can tell that they are definitely chasing down this carriage.
Well, gentlemen, I hope that you're all ready for action because we have about 3 of those separatists on us right now. And they're definitely closing in.
Senorita, I can be very ready at any moment.
Just set my cane, tip down on the floor in front of me, and click the switch.
I pull my my shield from behind. I kind of set it in front of my lap, and then I have my hand on the hilt of my sword.
Nicholas is pulling his hat further onto his head.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, quick question. Who's sitting on the right side of Nicholas, if anyone? Because if anyone's sitting there, they're probably getting smacked in the face by a giant feather.
I'll be there.
Okay. So whilst you are getting smacked with a giant feather, Nicholas is trying his best to climb out the window to stand atop the carriage.
All right. Go ahead and give me a dexterity check.
Okay. Let's see how bad this goes.
Nicholas, I don't think that's such a good idea.
22.
All right. Yeah. You've done this before. So you definitely kind of open the carriage window and you just reach up and grab the luggage bar and just kind of pull yourself out and do like almost not like a flip, but you're just right up on top of the roof of the carriage.
So everyone in the carriage just sees Nicholas open a window, reach a hand out, and then he just kind of looks at you and goes, "Tally ho!" And then you just see a billowing cloak fly through the window.
All right.
My dear, we're all going to die.
Is anybody? What is everybody else here? You're kind of preparing inside the carriage.
Yeah.
Very calmly, just
Okay.
holding my
So I'll give you a quick description of kind of the layout of the carriage. So you've got it's kind of a standard seats facing each other type situation. You've got the partition between you and the driver that can be opened or closed. You've got doors on both sides of the carriage that open out. There is a small kind of like runner bar along both sides of the carriage to like step onto before you step into the carriage. There is the luggage rack on top that currently is empty except for Nicholas' suite. There is a small there's like an extra wheel attached to the back of the carriage. And then obviously there's the horses and the area where the driver sits. You do have, in addition to the doors on each side, you have a windows on either side of the doors. Obviously, that Nicholas went out of one of them. You do know that the doors are very sturdy. The windows lock pretty well. But you also know that unlike zombies who kind of just batter against doors and windows and don't really know how to open them. Werewolves are intelligent.
Vendi, or I will. I'm actually gonna take my hand off my sword, and switch my shield to hold it with my dominant hand. I'm gonna smack the door open and grab the handle, and kind of just have one foot, and then kind of hang out the side to see what I can do to help Nicholas if they get close.
Okay. So as you are all kind of preparing this, the carriage breaks from kind of a copse of trees that you guys that your carriage has been driving through, and now you are on like open moor, and you're shooting out of this out of the trees on this carriage, and you're roughly going like 35-ish feet around type situation. And you hear the howling, and you see 3 huge wolf forms break out of the woods shortly behind you. They are about 40 feet behind, and with kind of relative speeds, they're going to gain about 5 feet around. So they'll be at the carriage in, well, I guess they're a little closer then, because that would take forever. They're about 20 feet behind, so they'll be about 4 rounds before they can.
Behind.
Or wait, let me see. I gotta remember. No, because they're going. Carriage goes 80 feet around. That's what it is. Carriage goes 80 feet around, or no, 60 feet around. They're able to go 80 feet around in a dash, and so they are about 40 feet behind you. So that's kind of they'll move slowly closer. If you are pulled off or fall off, this carriage ain't stopping. So let's roll initiative.
Okay.
13.
11.
13.
14.
All right, that's quite the grouping. Perfect. So you see these werewolves, and there's definitely one that's kind of in the lead, and he breaks ahead of his fellows, and he double dashes for his turn. He gets about 20 feet closer. So there's one that's about 20 feet away from the back of the coach, and then there are 2 that are about 40 feet away from the back of the coach. And at 14, I think that was Nicholas. Sorry.
Yes. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw my rapier. And
All right.
the next thing I'm going to do is point it at the leading Warwolf and cast Shatter as a 3rd level spell.
All right. And what is that, a con save?
It is a con save, DC 14.
All right. He succeeds.
Okay. Half as much damage. All right, so 3d8. So he'll take half of damage. Oh, nope. Oh, hey, 8. 4, that's 12. And then 7 is 19, so half of 19.
So 9 points of damage.
Yep.
Cool. All right. We had 2 people at 13. I think that was Fan, or you and yeah. So you guys are all kind of grouped. So if you kind of want to go in whatever order you want, the 4 of you, I'm more than happy to let that float.
I'll let y'all go first.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of step back inside a little bit with my free hand. I'm gonna just put my hand on Lorelai's shoulder, and I'll cast Warding Bond, which gives her a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws, and you have resistance to all damage. Now,
Nice.
whatever damage she takes, I take as well.
Okay.
And I
That's
say,
very kind, Senor
Senora
de
Adler,
Santo.
it's time to fight. And then I go back to my my sentinel position, holding onto the thing with the handle with my shield out, ready to try to block whatever's coming at us.
Okay.
I'm going to hold my turn until they get much closer, if they get much closer.
Okay. And Lorelei?
I really prefer not to fight before this party. Got all dressed up for all this.
I'm with you on that one.
I need all the werewolves to make a wisdom save.
Okay.
DC 14.
Ooh. All right. The lead one is able to save, and only one of them fails, unfortunately.
Okay, well, that one, I'm going to say, please retreat as I cast command.
Okay. Nice. So that one, it was kind of like the straggling one is you're going to see it start to just break off and just run back into the woods. So it's way behind now because it just totally roared in the opposite direction. The other one that did make it save, it's going to move up. So and you're going to see that the two werewolves have started to kind of flank on either side of the carriage. They're both going towards either side. This one is now both of them are now about 20 feet away. It is now back to the top of the round, and the lead werewolf is going to use its movement again, and it's actually gonna skirt a little wide of the carriage, but it's now about keeping pace with it. It's right along next side to it, about 10 feet out from the cart, and you can see that it glances at particularly. It glances at you, Vendaval, but you can see that it almost only has eyes for the horses.
Oh.
And it is your turn again.
Oh, my turn?
Or the group's turn.
Okay. I'm not going to take an action, but I am going to shout to everybody. These werewolves, they look like they're hungry for horse.
Then we ought to stop them. I saw one of them take off into the woods. Please tell me that was one of you.
Yes.
Oh. No, that was not me. I'm still here, Niklas.
One of us is confused. I'm not sure which. Either way, advantage us.
I will. You said they're coming around.
Either side. So one right now is about 20 feet behind and on the left side. The other is basically keeping pace with the door on the right side, about 10 feet out from the door.
And which door were you out, Vendaval?
He's out the right side door.
Right side? Okay, so I'm going to pull my rapier from my cane and open the left side door and just be ready if he comes closer within range.
Lorelei?
Really didn't want to do this. Lorelei's gonna lean out the window to where the werewolf in front is going, going toward their horses, and she's going to let out a guiding bolt at
Nice.
first level. Does a 14 hit?
It does.
Nice. How's 15 points of radiant damage look?
Ooh.
Jeez.
Looks toasty.
Nice.
Yes,
and-
yes, bring the holy light of radiance upon them.
And the next person who attacks the lead werewolf will have advantage on their attack roll.
Nicholas.
Ha! Wonderful. So if I'm understanding correctly, there's one on either end, and one has kind of moved a little bit further ahead to try and get closer to the horses, correct?
Yeah, so one is keeping pace. It's like right alongside, about 10 feet off from where the door of the carriage is. The other is about 20 feet behind on the left side.
Okay. All right. I had an idea as to what I wanted to do, but with how close it is, I'm not sure if that's the most prudent option now. Can I cast that again? I can. But might wait. Okay. All right. I'm going to cast Bane at a 3rd level on the one that is keeping pace,
Okay.
since he seems to be the most dangerous at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which means it needs to make a Charisma saving throw DC 14.
All right. It fails.
All right, cool. Which means not only the next person who attacks it gets advantage, but it gets a... Is it disadvantage? Let me read real quick.
I think it's a D4 subtracted.
Yep, you are correct. It is a D4 on its next attack or saving throw.
I mean, it's not just his next one. I think it's concentration. I think it just lasts until you...
Yep, you're right. You are correct.
Yeah, Bane's a wicked spell.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
And then aside from that, Nicholas is going to... We seem to have the doors fairly well covered. In an effort to keep our driver safe, he's going to move a little bit forward on the top of the carriage to be as adjacent to the driver and the horses as possible without losing sight of any of the warwelves.
Okay. Cool. So back to the one that was kind of following along behind is going to use its action. It's going to get close again. It's going to be basically about 10 feet off of the left side of the cart. So it's kind of closed out. So right now they're both kind of neck and neck along either side of the cart, a little ways away. They see you guys. They feel what you're putting down. They're keeping their distance a little bit.
They're panicking at our disco.
Yeah. So back to the top of the round, the lead werewolf on the right side is going to use its movement to try and get close to the horses, and is going to try and attack one of the horses. Oh yes, that's going to hit.
I have a question. How close
Yes.
would that make him to me?
So you're hanging out the door. The horses are probably about 6. Well, yeah, they're. I would say he's about 10 feet away in like standard block D&D stuff. Like
Okay.
it's at least like 5 feet from you to where the back of the horses are, and he's not exactly at the back of the horses. He's kind of trying to get them along the side.
Then with my shield, I'm going to use protection to
Okay.
impose disadvantage on that attack roll.
All right. Hey, there we go. That's gonna miss. Especially with the Bane. Yeah, especially with the Bane. So he kind of starts to charge in, and you kind of swing out on the door and just kind of like make a motion to try and like bash him off. You kind of whiff, but the movement and whatnot catches his eye, and he kind of shies away as he makes his leap for the horse and kind of misses and kind of lands and continues his stride. It is the group's turn.
Okay with that, I'm gonna kind of retreat back into the carriage a little bit and set my shield on one of the like kind of where I was sitting on the seat, and reach into the luggage compartment and pull out one of my javelins, and
Ooh.
I'm gonna throw it at the closest with that werewolf that I just imposed disadvantage on.
Yep. Okay.
So that is a +5, so it's 15.
That hits.
Was that the lead?
Yeah.
Then you would also have advantage.
Oh yeah, you would have advantage.
Awesome. So, well, I hit anyways then, yeah?
Yeah, but let's
Yeah,
see if
great.
you get that natural 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
nope. That's
Okay.
An 8.
Aw.
That's an 8. So just
So
a
close.
1d6 plus 2 is 3 damage.
All right.
And that's
Sweet.
one of them.
Nicholas?
All right. So, if I'm understanding things correctly, a javelin was just yeeted into the lead one, and it hit it for a little bit of damage, and he's
Mhm.
still like keeping pace with the horses.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
He seems to be hurt-ish.
Yes. He's I think technically bloodied, yes.
Oh, I don't want to give up the high ground just in case that second one comes barreling in from behind. So what I'll do instead is I will cast Shatter again, but this time at a second level.
Okay. On which one? The lead one?
The lead one, yes.
Okay. Yeah, he fails.
All right. So he will take 3d8. 1. Oh, okay. So that's 9. And that is a 4. So that's 13.
All right. Nice. Yeah, he is not happy about that at all. Sir Dankworth.
Now to the left side of the carriage, I will reach into my coat and pull out my hand crossbow. Load and take a shot.
All right.
15
That hits.
Nice.
is 5 points of damage.
All right. 5 points. And this one has been hit now. And leave Lorelei.
I'm gonna point a finger at the werewolf in front, and I'm gonna need it to make a dexterity saving throw.
All right. Dex saving throw.
This is Sacred Flame.
Okay. Okay. And he's got a d4, so -3. And yeah, he's going to fail.
That was 10 points of, I believe, radiant damage.
Ooh, he is
Nice.
not happy at all.
Dude, you need to stop, please.
And with that, the werewolf that is on the left side is going to make a kind of barreling leap at you, Sir Dankworth, and kind of shifts midair and turns, makes this leap and turns kind of humanoid midair and goes to slash into you. So he has a multi-attack. Makes 2 attacks. So
Nothing can go wrong.
does does a 21 hit you? Or wait, I need to minus
It's gonna hit.
-4. So does a
Yes.
17 hit you? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My shield was on the I left it on the seat, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so that is 1d8. So that's 4 points of damage. And then you can make a Constitution saving throw.
You get a +3 to that because of my aura of protection.
Ooh. 7.
Ooh.
I tried, guys.
Ow.
I tried.
Roll
Or
a
wait,
4
no,
and
because
I
that
have
was with
plus
his claws.
0.
Never mind, that was with his claws. Because
Okay.
that was his claw attack.
Thank you.
But he is going to try and bite you now.
Okay.
That though is going to miss because he rolled a 0.
Ah.
Just misses.
So yeah, he's going to miss with his bite, but he is kind of hanging on to you and the side of the carriage, and just he's swiped at you with one claw and kind of tried to bite at you with the other. The lead werewolf is very, very hurt, and but he's heard his friend kind of the rocking of the carriage has changed. He feels / heard his friend jump on, and it's going to kind of do a similar tactic, and so it is going to jump at you, Nicholas.
Okay.
So he is going to make his claw attack. Does a 19 hit? Or wait, but
yes.
he is a Bane. So
He is baned, yes.
So does a 15 hit?
A 15? Give me 1 second, because if I remember right, I have a reaction to make it not hit.
Nice.
I just want to make sure I've got my yep. I use my reaction to parry his slashing, and he does not hit, thankfully.
Awesome. So he misses you with that, and then he's going to try and bite you.
Okay.
And that is a 11 to hit.
That will not hit either.
He's you can just see there's just there's like blood seeping from his ears from the 2 shatters he's taken to the head, and a couple burn marks and scorch marks. He's really not looking good. It is the group's turn. So those of you who are looking out the right side, you would have seen this werewolf kind of adjust itself and then make like a leap onto the carriage and scramble up to the top and attack Nicholas. Those of you who are looking out the left, would probably hear the loud thumping noise. So
I would definitely take my hand crossbow and put it back in, grab my rapier, and do a quick stab.
Okay.
Where are we at? Let's use this one. Ooh. Not good. That's only a 7. I'm going to use lucky.
Okay.
Redo that. Oh, that's much better. 20.
Mm-hmm.
Dirty 20.
Yeah, that'll hit.
There you are. 9 points of damage.
All right.
That will be my turn.
Okay.
Who is hurt?
So both of the werewolves are pretty hurt. I believe that Ambrose is the only member of your party who has taken damage so far.
It's not much.
I haven't taken any damage either.
Nor have I. I came close.
I'm still going to cast Cure Wounds on you. And you're going to heal 5 points, which that'll bring you back up to full, right?
Yeah, because I only had 4 off.
But you can. I have this voice of authority thing. Whenever I cast a spell on somebody, you can make a weapon attack.
Ooh.
So go take another one.
I don't mind if
That's
I
cool.
Nice.
Don't mind if I do.
Order clerics are
do. So
great.
let's go.
Yeah,
14.
just hits.
Ha ha. Mm.
Go
I
ahead.
did 4 that time.
All right.
Protect us.
I'm doing my best, my lady.
All right. So your Dankworth is taking Nicholas.
Okay. I'm going to stare down this wretched beast and offer him a smirk of defilement as I attack him with my rapier.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Let me see. Oh. Okay. I think that'll do. Let me check my bonus because I rolled a 17.
Oh yeah, that hits.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So then that will be 1d8 plus 4. All right, so that's 12. And then I get my
Cool.
extra attack for being a member of the College of Swords. That will be a 15 plus 5, 18.
Yeah, that hits.
All right, and then I will use Slashing Flourish in addition to this. So that's 2. That makes it 6. And then that is a 4, so that's another 10 damage.
How do you want to do this?
So when this thing comes up against me, Nicholas just kind of parries him. And then when he goes for the bite, Nicholas kind of like twirls around with his sword behind his back for extra guard, but his cape kind of billows into the thing's face, which allows Nicholas to come forward with a slash across the chest and then a final plunging thrust into the creature's throat.
All right. And as you do, you just take it in the throat, and there's kind of like the gurgling noise, and then it just kind of slides off your blade and just boom, 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 and off to the side of the carriage.
Right before it dies, I'm just going to look it in the eye and go, next time, bring better weapons and kick it off.
All right. And Vendaval, I think that you still have a
Yeah.
turn.
So that one's dead. So then there's just all that other one on the other side of the carriage.
Yep.
Kind of keeping pace.
Yep. No, it's
on the-
actively on the carriage.
Oh, is
Yeah, it's
I'm
got,
hanging
it's got
out the
one
door, just
claw through the
stabbing
wood and
it.
then another one trying to smack at Ambrose.
is
Yeah.
any of your haunches kind of hanging off over the side, or is it all just completely like on top?
No. So it's so if the side of the carriage, there's like a door and a window on either side, it's kind of got its hand through one of the windows hanging onto the carriage, and it's basically kind of right in there close with Ambrose.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the door.
So I'll grab my shield with one hand and pull my long sword out with the other one, and I'm just gonna attack it with my long sword.
Okay.
Now, because I think it's because I'm a sentinel, or either because I have an extra attack, so I get to attack twice.
Okay.
I think it's because I chose the sentinel feat.
I think it's
So it's 15 plus 5. That's a 20.
yeah, that hits.
And then the second
Nice.
attack is an 18 plus 5, 23. So we'll do that.
All right.
So
Double nice.
4, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage with both attacks total.
9 damage. Okay. He's starting to look a little rough, but he's still got a lot of life left. You can see that, like, as you are kind of slicing over him, you hear the thumping noise of the other werewolf falling off. And this werewolf is going to take its swipe at you, Ambrose. And it's going to miss.
Okay, even with that.
And then it's going to seeing that things are not going well, it's going to just kind of jump backwards off of the carriage and shift back into wolf form and start to run away. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's a 21.
Does
That hits.
Does that give me an attack of opportunity as well?
Sure.
Oh,
18 plus another 23.
can I do my sneak attack on an attack of opportunity?
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
I love where this is going.
9 plus 3d6. 14, 17,
Oh jeez.
21.
All right.
And my little
Almost.
7.
So you guys basically doubled the damage on him. So 28. Let me do some actual math here.
Get someone to come out there with me.
Yeah. You basically both just like rake down his spine as he's jumping away. You do see him. I'm gonna just make him make a. Wow. Okay. So yeah, and then he fails his dex saving throw from all of this damage, and you just see him like he decided to leave at the wrong time, and he kind of jumped backwards, and your attacks hit him, and then he just slams into this like field stone that's along the side of the roadway. And as your cart kind of speeds past and continues on, you don't see it getting up and kind of limping anywhere. It seems that you are free of this werewolf menace that was kind of threatening you on your way into town.
Victorious.
Is everyone all right?
I take
I'm doing
my
okay.
rapier and I cast Prestidigitation to clean off the blood. Put it back in my cane, lock it.
Senor Dankworth, would you mind? And he presents. Then Duval presents his sword as well to you. After
Of
seeing
course.
what you just did. Ah, cleanliness.
They say it is next to godliness.
I have heard that too. Dios is very clean.
I'm gonna check on our driver real quick, make sure he's okay.
Yeah, as you're
okay,
as you're kind of cleaning off these swords and stuff, you realize that kind of overarching the entire kind of battle, there was just a high-pitched keening noise of this man kind of screaming, and he's finally you're just like, and he's definitely, these horses are booking. They are scared. They just got almost attacked by some giant ass wolves. And you think you are going to make some truly excellent time into London. And kind of as you approach the city, the driver slows down a little bit. You all kind of get back into the carriage, and you've kind of closed and locked the doors, knowing kind of what's going on. The driver, in fact, kind of there's like a the partition actually has like an extra like kind of hood thing that he's able to like pull out. So he's still kind of outside the carriage, but he's got like a little bit of like just kind of armor around him. And you start to see just kind of some of the hordes that surround the city. You can see some of the walls of the old city that are kind of where most of the aristocracy have kind of retreated back into, is the inside of kind of like the inner walls. The outer city is, for the most part, deserted. There are a few kind of holdouts, but give me just a moment. So you get into the city, and as you're approaching, you definitely kind of, the hordes kind of come and swarm over the cart a little bit, but your driver is experienced and knows how to deal with zombies. They're kind of slow. They're not intelligent. They're just numerous and annoying. and you make your way into the inner gates and up to the estate of Sir Robert Papyrus. And as the cart kind of treks in, I would like all of you to make a perception check for me, please.
Alrighty.
You got it.
Ooh.
I have a 4.
21.
Okay.
22.
Ambrose Dankworth is busy pulling out because he got some scratch marks on his coat, so he's pulling out his backup coat. So as not to show any damage whatsoever, and he got an 8 on his perception check because he was distracted.
Ah, man after my own fashion talents.
All right. So, Lorelei, you got a 21, and Nicholas, you got a 23?
22.
22? Okay.
Mhm.
So you both notice, I mean, there's always kind of a smell in London. You've come every now and then. I mean, it's London. It's kind of a dirty place, and the undead rotting corpses don't help. But there is, as you pass by the entrance, you notice a distinct smell of rotten eggs, like a very sulfurous smell. But you are taken up to the kind of the roundabout where everybody gets dropped off, and as the carriage comes up, the door opens, and there is a man standing there in kind of the formal kind of battle butler attire, and he just kind of gives you a crisp bow. Yes, and who might you be?
My name is Vendival de Santo. It's very much a pleasure to meet you.
Welcome, honored guests, Vendival, and you, sir.
Ambrose Dankworth III, at your service.
And you with the hat?
Nicholas is going to take his hat off and bow extravagantly. Nicholas Sweet, at your service, my good man.
Very good, very good. And my lady?
Lorelei Adler.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Papyrus Estate. The mistress is inside. The ball has started. I shall escort you in and announce you as such.
Thank you, sir.
So at this point, we're going to take a quick pause in the RP to do some fun social background stuff. So I would like each of you to roll a d4. None of you can have the same number.
I got a 4.
I got a 3. I think there's 2 3s.
No, we got a 2.
Okay.
All right.
I rolled a 4, a 3, and then finally a 1.
All right. So who is our number 1?
That's Nicholas.
Number 1 is Nicholas.
Yep.
All right. So you, part of the reason you came to this ball is because it's a ball and they're fun. But you knew that basically the 2 kind of love interests in your life would be at this ball, and you haven't really had a good chance to neither one of them has really won you over yet. You're having a hard time kind of deciding between them. So I would like you to roll a d8 twice, please.
Sure thing. A 4 and a 6.
All right. So there are 2 women at this party that you have been kind of gently courting, like not too much, but you've been having a hard time deciding which to formally court. One is Susan, who's kind of very shy, but she's very kind, a little self-deprecating. She comes from a family that's a little less wealthy than yours. And then there is Elsie, who is very strong, very intelligent. She's a little bit sharp, though, and doesn't suffer fools. And you have definitely, especially with your kind of witty repartee, have been having kind of a banter. It's a little taming of the shrew, but not quite. All right, and who was our number 2 character? All right, Lorelei. There is a person here at this ball who actively courted you, but then jilted you, and you came to the ball because you knew it's kind of the thing to do, but you know that this person is here and you don't really want to see them very much. So go ahead and roll a d8 for me.
1.
All right. So that is Mr. Ulrich. He's kind of a little bit cold, not a lot of fun, a little bit reclusive, overly serious, but it's a very good-looking man and is rich as shit. All right. Number 3.
Rose.
All right, Ambrose Dankworth. You come from a long line of Dankworths. You are the third, and as such, you've had quite a bit of time for your family to acquire some wealth, and you are currently being you're coming to this ball hoping to maybe find someone to court, someone of the right station, but you are also currently kind of being hounded by 2 other people that you don't really have any interest in, but you can't just spurn them because they do have important social connections with your family. So go ahead and roll 2 d8s for me.
A 4 and a 2.
4 and a 2. All right. So Mr. Burton is a kind of very religious and a little bit, he's kind of very obsequious. He sucks up to people a lot. But also there is a woman called Charlotte who's very kind of plain and sensible, very empathic, very realistic. All right. And Bendeval. You're really just kind of visiting England. You've come from some of the European courts, and you've been kind of playing the field. There's about 3 people here who you have an active relationship with that you might need to keep them from figuring out that you have an active relationship with somebody else.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Go ahead and roll a d8 3 times, please.
A d8 3 times. All right. A 1, a 4, and a 4.
All right. Reroll one of those 4s.
7.
All right. Let's see here. We've got this is 1. All right. So you have actually had a relationship with Mr. Ulrich, the same Mr. Ulrich that Lorelei has been jilted by. You also there's a young woman named Mary who is kind of very religious and kind of unself-aware, a little bit silly, but very kind. And also, yes. And also, there is a young man named Magnus, who is kind of fairly rich. He's friends with he's friends with many people. He's very kind, but a little bit of an idiot. So, in addition to that, at this point in time, you all now have 5 entertainment points. You can use 3 of these to take advantage on a roll, or you can use 6 to do an automatic crit on a roll. You can acquire more of them by kind of inventive RP ways of either avoiding the people you don't want to be seeing, kind of interacting with the host, and entertaining the young woman whose party this is. In addition to that, for everybody in chat, I know that the Nightbot has been spamming it some, but if you do donate $5 to the Extra Life, you can designate a character that you want to give advantage to. And if you donate $10 to Extra Life, you can designate a person you want to give a crit to. I will try and catch up on. I will try and be looking, but I've got some elves who are also in the stream who will be hopefully DMing me should you do that, so that I can award that appropriately. So,
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Are we, because we mentioned that all of our characters were somewhat acquainted with each other, are we at all aware of some of the social backgrounds that we just went through?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first thing that Nicholas is going to do is seek out Lorelei and ask a very blunt question. Was it you I heard after the flaming bolt of fire scorched out of the cart?
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Talk about a scalding scolding then.
Yes, I've heard tell it's not quite pleasant to be on the other side of it.
I've no imagine why it might be.
So as you are kind of being escorted in, as you get inside, and this is kind of a London Manor house. It's fairly large. You're let into the main foyer and then off to one of the side ballrooms, and the manservant kind of walks in and announces you all. And there's a few people who are kind of paying attention, but everybody's kind of milling about, chatting, etc. What do you guys want to do?
Put myself to the host.
Okay, so you want to find Shishido?
Yes.
Okay. So she's kind of at the other side of the ballroom. You can see her kind of holding court a little bit. She's in a very kind of poofy, like overly wrought dress. And you know that she is half-breed. She is a Genasi. Her father is married to a female Jinn of the air variety. And so she has kind of very pale blue skin. And you see that there's like just constantly like she's got ribbons and stuff in her hair, and there's constantly like just a little breeze kind of blowing those and making them look very pretty. But as you approach, she goes, "Oh,
Sir Dankworth, Ambrose, it is so good to see you. Thank you for coming.
I wouldn't miss it for the world, my lady. Take a bow.
Senor De Santo would have followed Mr. Dankworth as well to
Okay.
pay his respects to the lady of the hour.
Oh, and Vendival, I have heard quite the tales about you. She kind of gives you a little wink.
And Vendival catches the wink and he says, he's like, and I've heard many a tale of your beauty, but none were as astute as my eyes tell me now.
Oh,
Pleasure to
she
meet
blushes. Oh, you people from the continent. Oh,
And he does a really nice deep bow. Just
all right.
I don't think Nicholas would have followed them, but I think he would have stayed nearby. So the minute he hears Vendival like kind of sort of wooing our hostess, if you might actually hear Nicholas just kind of chuckle and try and hide it behind a cough.
Okay.
And Lorelai does not cover it at all. She just laughs.
All right. Let's see here. See if anybody notices. No. There's a lot of noise, etc. All right. So she goes, "Oh well, you've arrived, and I think that we're only waiting on one or two more people, so we should get the party started." And she kind of looks over to a band and kind of like makes a gesture, and they start to play a fairly common kind of ballroom dance type music. And Shishido gives her arm to you, or proffers her arm to you, Ambrose.
I would be honored, my lady.
And everybody kind of lines up. Who else will be joining in the dance? It's going to be one of those kind of like big, country. Everybody's in a line, and you do all sorts of that kind of stuff.
Lorelai will.
Vendival's actually gonna kind of slink out behind the crowd, looking for refreshment, but also trying to keep a low profile after saying hi to Miss Papyrus.
Okay. And Lorelai, did you say you were going to join the dance?
Yes.
Okay.
Nicholas will also join the dance.
Okay. So for those of you who are joining the dance, the music strikes up, and you all kind of takes places across from partners. Let's see here. So I need to write that down because I need to not forget this stuff. And then, no, that one was Lorelai. This one is Nicholas. Sorry, folks.
Oh no, you're fine.
And Ambrose. And perfect. Okay. So I would like Ambrose and Lorelai to both roll. So it's going to be kind of a fun social mini game. I'm going to roll a D8. And there are two sides to the mini game. So there's the social aspect of the mini game of trying to avoid attract the people you want. And then there's also the dexterity side of the mini game of actually being able to dance. So for both, I'm going to roll a D8, and then you will roll a D8, and you need to get within one of what I roll. And if you are proficient in for the social, if you are proficient in where is it? You can, if you're proficient in insight, you can use your insight or just your wisdom modifier to get closer to the roll. And if for the dexterity, if you are proficient in performance, you can use your performance or your dexterity to get closer to the roll. Does that make sense?
But if you're not proficient in either one, you don't get any bonuses.
Correct. You just got to get lucky.
Sweet.
You know what? I'll change that because that's a little bit harsh. I would say that you could use whatever your proficiency modifier is, no matter what.
Okay.
So if you don't have anything, so with if you have those, you can use whatever that kind of like stat is plus proficiency, or you can just use your proficiency. All right. So I think this makes the most sense because because you have slightly less than a 50% chance. All right. So I rolled a 3.
All right. I rolled a 5. I'm proficient in insight, and that's a 6.
Okay. And I would say that you can use it to modify it in either direction. So like if you want to like pull it, because the idea is you're just trying to kind of get close to that number.
Oh, okay.
Did you roll a 4?
So yeah.
Okay. So I rolled
Does that make
5.
sense at all? I'm probably
No.
overcomplicating this. Okay.
No, how do I use a 6 to modify a 5 to get to a 3?
So you rolled a 5, and you've got a proficiency, which you said gives you a plus 1, right? Or no? Because you said you had or your proficiency is a plus 6.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you couldn't get that close.
Was this the insight or?
This would be the insight.
Okay, I've got a +0 to insight, so my 5 can be.
Okay.
It's within 1, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me think this out because this is something I just kind of came up with a little bit, and it's a little confusing, I can tell. Because we're trying to get within 1. Yeah, I mean,
my proficiency is 3.
yeah.
So
I would say that you can use. So you've got your different modifiers, and you can either add or subtract them from your roll to adjust it closer to the number.
okay.
And you don't necessarily have to use all of them. So like,
So you pick and choose
yeah,
which modifier to use. So like,
yeah,
so we're doing insight. So you can choose your insight modifier, your wisdom modifier, or your proficiency modifier.
correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. So
If you roll a 5,
I'm going to use my wisdom modifier to bring it down to a 2.
okay, cool. Perfect. So you are able to notice Mr. Ulrich kind of further down the line, and you kind of position yourself a little bit away such that throughout the dance, you're probably not going to run into him. Ambrose, you rolled a 5, you said?
I rolled a 5 on the dice, and then I modified it to a.
Okay.
No, I left it was 0, so 5. Yeah.
Okay. So there are you notice that you've kind of put yourself in a position where both of the people who you are currently kind of thinking about are going to dance with you very shortly. And Nicholas,
Okay.
what did you roll?
Oh, I thought you were doing just Lorelei and Ambrose.
Right, I did say that, but now I'm calling you on you.
That's fine. That's fine. I just didn't have anything pre-rolled, so I rolled it now, and you said it's the insight?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take my proficiency from that. That'll be 5.
Okay. So you also kind of see both of the women who you are currently kind of thinking about, and position yourself in such a way that you think you'll be able to dance with them, but maybe not at the exact same time. So kind of the music starts up, and you start to dance with your various partners, and kind of, it's one of those clappy dances. So there's not a lot of talking, but there's some. Ambrose, kind of Mr. Burton, the one of the people who's kind of after your fortune a little bit, it kind of is in the circle with you and says, "Oh, Mr. Dankworth, oh, it's so good to see you."
Mr. Burton, the pleasure's all mine, I'm sure.
Yes. And how is your mother?
Oh, she's wonderful. Wonderful, same as always.
Well, that's good. That's good. And then kind of he gets spun away, and after which Charlotte kind of is also kind of gets spun in and says, "Oh, Ambrose, oh, it's so good to meet you. So it's good to see you here. I'm glad you came. I had heard you might not."
Oh, how could I miss this wonderful place?
Oh, that's so good to hear. Apparently, Shishito has some form of surprise for us all later.
Yes, I'd heard that. I'm very eager for the reveal.
Lorelei, you've got a couple of partners who you just kind of are pleasantly dancing with, and eventually kind of the dance brings Shishito closer to you. She goes, "Oh, Lorelei, I hope you're having a good time."
I really am, and I'm so happy for you.
Oh, yes.
It's
yes.
such an exciting day for you.
It is. It's very exciting. Daddy said that he would come, but he hasn't arrived yet. But I'm sure that my surprise will make him arrive very quickly.
Can I insight check her?
Sure.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who had that
Oh,
thought.
yeah, I
I'm a little sus.
Yeah.
Like, okay, 21. Just like,
Yeah.
how expensive was this surprise?
You see a mischievous gleam in her eye. And you know Shishito. You've met her a few times. You've heard about her. Her father is quite the garrulous fellow, but she's been known to be quite the prankster, as well as being kind of very flighty and a little bit of a she likes attention on her. So you think you're not sure what she's got planned. She hasn't kind of really revealed her hand, but you can tell that she's got something planned.
It's not the sort of surprise that's going to get us all in trouble again, is it?
Oh, no. There no trouble. No trouble at all. No. And she kind of dances away, but you see just kind of like this kind of mischievous glint in her eye as she kind of winks at you as she kind of is twirled away. Nicholas.
That girl.
Nicholas, you have been kind of positioned, and you've got both of the young women who you are currently kind of thinking about within earshot of each other, and you can tell that there's definitely a little bit of a rivalry there. They're both very well dressed, but Elsie kind of spins in for the part of the dance. She goes, "I see you wore your stupid hat again."
What can I say? It brings out my eyes. I see you wore that filthy dress.
Oh my, aren't we sharp tonight?
Sharper than a blade recently seen by a smith.
I see, and yet I find your company so dull sometimes.
Oh, what can I say? I have to keep everyone suspecting something's up.
Oh, yes. Well, I think that our hostess will do that for us tonight.
Yes, I remember something of news of a surprise in store, though what to expect, that's, well, surprise.
Oh, and you haven't figured it out yet.
Oh, I have ideas. I have ideas. I just...
Oh, do you now? And what are these magnificent ideas of yours?
Well, one of them involves 3 horses, a cake, and a man dressed as a dragon. The other involves
Interesting.
setting everything on fire. And
Hmm.
there are a few others, but none stick out quite as much as those in my mind.
I see. And she kind of has a slight grin on your face. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
All right. Okay, that is light. 13 plus 5 is 18.
Okay. You've looked around the room. I mean, you've been kind of being spun around the room a lot. Everybody seems to be having a good time. You do notice that when you mentioned everything set on fire, there was definitely like just the smallest little like eyebrow raise from Elsie. But then she kind of continues on. She's like, "So you think that she's going to have a man jump out of a cake dressed as a dragon?"
Well, not necessarily jump out of a cake, but it's a possibility.
I see.
We are talking about Lady Papyrus, after all.
Yes.
Stranger things have happened.
I mean, there was that pineapple incident.
Don't remind me of the pineapple incident. I still have nightmares.
So you all are kind of continuing to dance. Vendaval, you have kind of slunk away from the dance in search of refreshments. There are numerous kind of there are a couple butlers around, kind of handing out drinks. There is a bar, and there are kind of hors d'oeuvres that are kind of making their way around. Is there anything in particular you want to be doing? And you do have an advantage from someone donating.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you for that, donator. Now, would I know that Mr. Ulrich, Mary, and Magnus are going to be here?
Yes.
Yeah?
This is kind of the event of the season. Anybody who's anybody is not going to miss it.
Okay, so that's why he kind of didn't want to go dancing. So he's using this time to find refreshments for himself, but he's kind of scoping out the area to see where his lovers are and kind of just like setting out a game plan as to how he's gonna stay away from or keep them from like meeting each other somehow.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
Awesome. +0. That's a 1 +0. So.
Oh no! I mean, you do have advantage.
Yeah, let's do that. Yes, thank you. Here we go. Here's your money getting put to good use. That is a 16 +0.
All right. So you kind of make your way towards like a stairwell and kind of look out over the crowd and kind of look at everybody who is standing around, and you can see your 3 lovers kind of throughout the crowd. You see that. Let's see here, and the ball's there, and there we go. Okay, you can see that Mr. Ulrich and Magnus are both kind of at opposite ends of this kind of dance choreography that's going on currently. You can see that you actually do notice Mary kind of making a bit of a beeline towards you as you are kind of getting drinks.
Okay. So since I noticed that, I'm going to pretend like I don't see her coming at me, and kind of just kind of like lead her towards a more secluded area of the ball.
Okay.
Just kind of like out of eye shot of Magnus and Mr. Ulrich, knowing that she's gonna follow me that way. Just kind of so knowing that she's gonna get to me, I want to have more of a more of a coverish place to talk with her.
Awesome. So you are able to kind of find, you go into one of the side rooms. There's a couple like studies. There's people here who are kind of chatting and whatnot, but it's definitely quieter. And she kind of catches up to you. Are you running away from me, you naughty man?
Senorita Mary, of course not. But I know how you know how much I prefer my privacy.
Indeed you do.
And he puts out his hand, like, asking for hers.
She very kind of graciously gives it.
With a small bow, he gives her a little kiss on the top of her hand.
Whew.
He says, "I'm very pleased to see you here tonight, Mary."
I am pleased to see you. It has been a few weeks. I had thought you would not come back to London.
The only reason to come back to London, my bella señorita, is you.
Oh, you flatter her. So, what do you think the surprise is that Shishito has prepared for us?
Well, I thought I've gotten my surprise seeing you here now.
Oh.
Whatever it may be, it does not matter to me now.
Oh, silly man. Must be more aware. Shishito can be erratic.
Well, I know this, you know this, and it is, how do you say, futile to try to guess the way that she thinks.
This is very true.
Whatever she has in store for us, I know it will be entertaining, and I will be by your side to watch every second.
Oh, well, I hope so. You gave me the slip at the last ball.
Of course, if I don't give you the sleep, how will I keep you from wanting me so much more?
Oh, go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Yeah, I've got a +6 to that, which makes it a 19.
Yeah, I mean she's just kind of red to the ears, but she's like, well, I won't let you get away this time, and she just kind of hooks her arm through yours and is kind of just a little bit draping herself on you, she kind of calls over one of the butlers and gets a drink and drinks a little bit. So, what do you think? What sort of games do you think we'll play tonight?
My bella Mary, you know I'm partial to the card games. I've got many pesetas in my pockets, and I'm ready to bet.
Oh, well then, I definitely should introduce you. And she kind of guides you over a little bit, and you see that there is a small like poker game that's going on. And she goes, "Oh, Anthony," and there's a young man in a like a military uniform sitting at the table, and he looks up. "Oh, hello, Mary," and how are you? And she's like, "Oh, this is my friend that I've been telling you about, Vendival," and he kind of gives a bit of a dirty look, but he's like, "Oh, would you care to play?"
Yes, I would like to play. Mary, please, my cup is running low. Would you mind?
Oh, no, not at all. And she kind of, she takes her cup and then she takes about 2 steps away, and then she looks back and says, "Don't you go anywhere."
Of course not, Mary. I would not do that to you.
And then she turns her back and kind of sachets away to get some more wine.
Gentlemen, excuse me. And I walk away.
Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
Oh, that's.
I was expecting it,
That's
but
a
not in that manner.
-1. Can I use 3 of my entertainment points for this?
Yep.
Okay. That's a 16.
Okay. Let's see here. That's lower than or higher than her passive. So, well, you know what? But she's going to be trying to keep an eye on you. So let's see here. Yeah, no, she doesn't see you.
Yes.
She's still very flustered from your interaction. So I have been informed that both Lorelai and Ambrose, you both have auto crits. So getting back to you, the dance is kind of continuing. I think just go ahead and make straight up dexterity checks for me. See if you can kind of keep up with the natural one.
Dirty 20.
Okay, Ambrose, you're well versed in kind of the ways of these courtly dances and whatnot. Lorelai, unfortunately, you get distracted and make a mistake. Go ahead and describe to me kind of what you want to have happen here.
So as Lorelai is making her way across as part of this dance, she's wearing this great just like white dress with like filigree on, and she slips and falls in a just like puddle of red wine that was spilled on the floor.
Oh no. And kind of as you do this, there's definitely a little bit of kind of tittering around you from some people, but there's a number of very kindly gentlemen who kind of arrive and happy to help pick you up. Oh my goodness, are you all right?
Yes, I'm quite all right. Just a little distracted, a little clumsy.
Oh yes, no.
Thank you so much.
Oh yes, of course. Would you care to sit down? Perhaps. All right.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
would you like anything? Is there anything I can get for you?
Just some water, please.
Of course. And he kind of wanders over and gets some water and brings it back to you. My name is Matthias, by the way.
Matthias, Lorelai.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm sorry about that. Here, let me get that for you. And he prestidigitates the wine off of your dress.
Oh, well, that's certainly coming in handy.
Oh yes, it's very useful. So, what do you think? What do you think Shishito's got planned?
I'm sure she means well by it, but I'm sure it's probably not going to be something enjoyable.
She definitely does have an odd idea of what fun is.
Yes, she does. I'm sorry to say that it's not really what I consider to be fun.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, perhaps we can be bad guests and avoid it. If you'd like, I could. Shishito gave me quite the tour earlier. I think there are some out of the way places I could show you where we might avoid whatever her schemes are.
You naughty man, that's not done.
True.
But all right.
Oh, good. Thank you. He'll offer you his arm.
Lorelei will take it.
Okay, and he'll kind of start to guide you along the ball and kind of towards the stairs. Ambrose, you and Nicholas, you are both still dancing. It's going well. Go ahead and just make. Let's see here. Go ahead and make go ahead and make stealth checks to kind of try and not like exit the dance, but to avoid the people that you want to avoid.
That's what Ed put, but the rest of us are ready to go. But I've narrowed my eyes like beyond.
14.
Here's an important question that I need to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the flamboyant nature of my dress, am I at disadvantage or anything?
I would say no. There's a fair bit of frippery here. You're not the only one with a large hat.
Okay. All right, so that would make that a total of is that it? Okay, yeah, 18.
Okay, you're both doing pretty well. Ambrose, you definitely still you've got your eyes on Mr. Burton and Charlotte. They're both kind of they keep on trying to maneuver their way closer to you, through the dance, but you keep on kind of giving them the slip a little bit with kind of changing partners erratically. And when you're doing one of these, you kind of change partners into being a partner with Shishido. And she's like, well, you're dancing this dance very different than most people.
Oh, I don't want to be boring. I spice things up every now and then.
Oh, that's good. I do like entertaining guests.
I can tell this is quite an event you've got here.
Yes, isn't it? I'm so glad everybody came.
Absolutely. I'm sure the best is yet to come.
Oh yes. That will be in a little while. I think though first we will probably play some party games in a little bit, but once the band needs a break.
I want to I don't know how to word it. I want to see if she'll tell me anything about the surprise.
Okay.
It's like, lady, I've heard rumors that you've got quite the surprise planned for us.
Oh yes, I do.
What kind of surprise? I'm dreadfully curious.
Oh well, then it wouldn't be a surprise, would it?
Oh, it'd be a surprise for everyone else, but I can keep a secret.
Make a persuasion check.
19.
Nice.
All right. She kind of looks at you, and as you kind of swing in for kind of some kind of rotating movement, she kind of gets close, and she just whispers in your ear, "I would just keep your weapons handy."
Oh, I always keep my weapons handy.
And then she kind of gets spun away. Nicholas, you are still kind of dancing, and you kind of had your interaction with Elsie a little bit, and eventually you are kind of spun into Susan, and she kind of immediately blushes when you are kind of spun into her area. She goes, "Hello, Nicholas.
Hello, my dear. You're looking lovelier than ever.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you."
Why, yes, it is good to see me, but not nearly as much as it is good to see you.
You're always quite the joker.
I try.
Well, I hope you have a good time tonight.
Truth be told, I'm already having the best time
Oh, and why is that?
because you're next to me.
And she kind of blushes more. And then she just she's very quiet and she says, "Well, thank you. I hope to hear from you soon outside of the party as well."
If luck continues the way it is, I foresee many, many more wonderful conversations in our future.
And the dance separates you again. Vendaval, you kind of slunk away from the card game. What you doing?
Oh, no.
Just kind of walking the perimeter.
Okay.
Grabbing a glass of wine from a server here and there, and just sort of enjoying myself and listening in on conversations and keeping my eye on everybody and keeping my eye on specifically my 3 importance.
All right, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
It's 11, 12.
Okay. You've got a pretty good eye on Mary, and you can see that Mr. Ulrich is still dancing. But you kind of lost sight of Magnus. And it's at this point in time that you feel an arm just kind of thrown around your shoulder as Magnus kind of just comes up behind you and is like, Vendaval, it is good to see you.
Oh, that's a big, strong arm. It can only be. And he turns over and he says, Magnus, how are you? And,
I'm doing quite well.
He kind of turns a little bit and he slings under his arm around the back of his waist. And he says, and I say, well, I was beginning to wonder how long it would take you for you to seek me out like this.
Well, I saw you arrive and then you slipped away. How have you been?
I've been very good. I see that, and he kind of pulls him in a little bit closer and he says, I see that you've been pretty good too.
Well, what can I say? The countryside has been good to me, but it is quite a little bit lackluster since you left.
Yes, it has been good to you. Well, maybe we can fix that for you. Let's get a drink, no?
Yes, let's. Kind of walk over to bar and grab a drink. Like I saw you, thought I saw you on the stairs with, I can't remember, what's her name? It's one of the other guests, I think. Do you know her? Is she a cousin or something?
She's a friend. She's you should meet her one of these days. She's a very nice lady.
Oh.
Very affectionate for a friend.
Oh, that's nice. Hopefully not too affectionate.
No. My affection is reserved only for Magnus.
Oh. You flatterer, sir. You are quite the wordsmith.
And at this point, Vendaval's kind of gonna duck under his arm and kind of do a little twirl and have him twirl around a little bit so they're kind of facing each other, and grabs him a glass of wine and hands it to him. And he says, and he says, to companionship, no? And offers him a little toast.
Indeed, to companionship. Clink.
And take a sip.
Okay. So perhaps we should No. When do you think you can visit the countryside again?
Magnus, go back. You were about to say something that it was in piquing my interest.
Well, I mean, I do know that there are some rooms upstairs that are not used very much.
So you're familiar with this establishment. I would.
Yes, Shishito has thrown a few parties before.
Well, Magnus, I would say a señorito like me and you should find one. I will meet you upstairs.
Oh, all right. Let's see here. Go ahead and make a deception check for me, because I think I know where you're going with this.
That's a 6.
Oh,
Totally.
he kind of as you've kind of been you've spun him around. He's close, and you've taken your toast, and he kind of just reaches out and does the little finger chest twirl, and then just kind of hooks your lapel and brings you close. He says, "I don't think I want to wait for you upstairs. I want you to come with me upstairs."
Magnus, you have a way of persuasion. Very well, I will follow you upstairs.
It's a good boy. Lorelei, you are being kind of escorted around by Matthias, and he's being a perfect gentleman, but he takes you upstairs. There are some people upstairs, and there's a very nice balcony that he takes you out onto. That there's just about 2 other couples out on the balcony, and kind of just quietly talking, and you're able to kind of take in London. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
I think that's 14.
Okay. So you kind of look out on the area around the estate. You can see, aside from the estate itself, there's a couple. There's like another estate kind of immediately next door. Kind of they kind of share a wall between them, but it seems like it's dark for the night, and around, like kind of across, I guess, what is the street, you see a couple of burned out buildings. There's the occasional zombie, but like you can see the butlers are kind of like out on the wall, and they're just kind of like occasionally sniping zombies. It doesn't seem like there's much of a kind of horror or anything present necessarily, even with all of the activity inside the ball. It is a beautiful night in London. We got lucky that the fog cleared.
I'm sorry, I don't... You're right, yes. Yes, it's lovely.
You don't have to agree with me. Is there whether you prefer?
This city scares me.
All
of this.
There's nothing to fear. There's enough of us here, and it's a party. It'll be fine. Surely the balls in the country are sometimes attended by the dead.
Sometimes, yes, but not nearly this much.
I see. Well, if you stay close to me, I guarantee I will make sure you stay safe through whatever Shishito might have planned for us.
You're just the perfect gentleman, aren't you?
Well, I try.
Can I insight check him?
Sure.
Natural 20.
Okay. Matthias, he seems like a very upstanding gentleman. He seems very straightforward. he saw you fall, and he's just been kind of taking care of you. He seems to genuinely want to put you at ease.
Trust no one.
Trust no one, not even yourself.
Exactly. Especially not yourself.
So, how do you know our host? What are you doing here?
Sorry, I did not give my formal introduction. I am Sir Matthias. I am here on order of the king. I am one of his royal guards. Whenever one of the young ladies of the court decide that they want to do something silly like this, the king always sends at least one of us to make sure that things don't get too out of hand.
Only just enough out of hand.
Well, one can't. One can't. What's the name of the one? One can't truly annoy the gentry. It is where the king gets his power from.
I see. So, you were given a tour of all these rooms, and
Yes.
This balcony is where you want to take me?
Oh, there are a few other rooms, a few quieter rooms, but I thought the view nice. I enjoy being able to see London. But you seem ill at ease. Come, let's. There's a library that is nearby. It is a more intimate place.
Then let's go.
And he'll kind of lead you off the balcony. Go ahead and make a. Let's see here. What is passive? Go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
14.
Okay. Yeah, like you were kind of like looking around out here on the balcony, but nothing really stood out too much. But yeah, you let Matthias kind of lead you back into the hall. The dancing has kind of started to come to an end, and Shishido starts to call everybody over. Come, I would like to play some party games. So Ambrose and Nicholas, you are still kind of down in the main room, and she says, "I was thinking we could play forfeits." And forfeits is a game that I learned about, where everyone chooses a small personal item and put it in a small box that kind of everybody puts it into. At which point in time, one of the people will have left the room, and they are the judge. And when they come back, they have to try and guess who each item kind of belongs to. And if they're able to guess, then to get that item back, the person has to basically like a truth or dare type situation. So has to perform some small task or, silly dance or something along those lines. And then you eventually kind of rotate who the judge is. But she is, so I will be the judge for the first, and you all can put your little items in the box, and we'll see if I can't guess, if I don't know my guests better than I think I do. And you see her look at two of the butlers and kind of walk out. Go ahead and what's your passive insights, Nicholas and Ambrose? would be the same as, or yeah, passive insight. Yes.
18.
Woo. Looks like yours is 10, Ambrose. Okay. So, Niklas,
Yes.
you've played this game before. You know that, I mean, sure, she's the hostess and she might need some help with her butlers, but she definitely doesn't need like 2 butlers to escort her to be out of the room for like a minute. Ambrose, you just think this is a delightful game.
I did have a plan.
Okay.
Whenever she left the room, or I was basically not in sight from her.
Okay.
Because of what she told me, I wanted to sneak away a little bit and just start looking around for stuff that doesn't fit.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Natural 19 plus 8.
Okay. So, I mean, you know, the interior of the house is very well decorated, you know. And you've been to London manors before. You know that they're kind of fortified at this point in time. But you go and you kind of peek behind one of the decorations that's kind of like covering this kind of large window. And you notice that it's already like, usually for a party like this, they would maybe have like the steel like window coverings open so you could kind of like see out or something like that. You can see that like looking around, you realize that this manor is like ready to be locked down. Like it's well fortified and it is on the brink. And with that high of an investigation check, you would smell, like as you get near one of the windows, you actually kind of like, you know how to open them. And so you kind of just crack it open a little bit and look outside. And what you see and what you smell is you smell that kind of sulfur smell again. And you see just below the window, kind of angled away from the building, a small tube kind of stuck into the wall, like kind of stuck into the ground nearby the wall. And you see a small fuse going down from the bottom of it. And you would, looking along the wall outside, and you kind of close the window, you saw a couple more of these kind of lined up along the wall.
Okay, I'm going to look around. Do I see, is Lorelai's upstairs?
Mm-hmm.
You're playing the game. Is Vendaval around? Do I see?
I would say that right now, the only person you see is Niklas. I would say that right now, kind of people are kind of still gathering and putting stuff into the box. As you kind of slipped away as soon as Shishido started to leave. So you would see Niklas, at least, and he wouldn't necessarily be engaged.
Yeah, I want to sidle up next to Nicholas, and there are fuses. I think there are explosives set up around this house.
Explosives?
Okay, let me start from the beginning. I had a little chat with Shishito, and
Yeah. Yes, please do. I'm quite concerned.
I asked her about the surprise that she has planned for us, and all she would tell me was to keep my weapons ready. And so that obviously put me in investigation mode, so I looked around and I looked outside this window, and there are several tubes spaced out along the outer wall. Little fuses.
Keep my weapons ready. But why the hell would she need explosives then? I mean, at the very least, that something seemed off when she walked out with 2 of the butlers.
Absolutely.
This game is nowhere near complex enough to need 2 assisting hands.
Something is not right.
Okay. I'm going to do a quick scene shift over to Vendaval. You have been kind of dragged upstairs by Magnus. And he kind of pulls you down the hallway a little bit, and there's a room kind of at the end of the hallway, and he kind of looks around a little bit and then slips inside and kind of...
He slips inside?
Yeah, the room.
Yeah, all right, I'll follow him in.
Okay. It's a kind of a nice study ish place. There's a small balcony off of it, and there's some very kind of comfortable chairs. It looks like it might be Sir Robert's like office or something like that.
Oh, what an interesting choice for a room for companionship, Magnus.
Yes, well, I do like to live dangerously.
So he starts getting a little bit closer to Magnus, and well, what's Magnus wearing?
I mean, kind of standard issue Victorian or Edwardian wear. So, he's got like breeches and whatnot, and he's got a cravat and a little vest. He's and you see some of it's kind of like nicer. It's been like reinforced a little bit with leather. It's it's like formal wear that's also almost armor.
Okay.
And yeah.
So this is basically like somebody's study, right? So there's like a desk and a chair and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Vendaval goes over to the chair and kind of twirls it around, sits down, crosses his legs, and is off to one side holding his cup of wine, and he says, "Magnus, you seem uncomfortable. Maybe make yourself a little bit more."
Oh, he kind of starts to just undo his cravat a little bit.
Oh yes, that looks. You seem more comfortable now, but I believe there's more room.
Indeed, there is. You don't look too comfortable yourself, though.
Oh, and I take my shield off and I kind of put it next to the chair, like kind of like leaning on it, and he says to Magnus, you understand that I care more about you. Show me how comfortable you can get.
Oh, you are very naughty. Not sure we should do that here at a party.
So at this point, Vendaval goes, I understand now, and he puts his glass down on the table, puts his shield back up, and he says, "Well, then I guess it was a very nice night." And he starts walking out.
Oh, no! Vendaval.
Magnus, you could be getting comfortable, but you protest. Maybe later on the night, once you are more in the state of mind for companionship, I will meet you. And he opens the door and starts walking out.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
That's 17.
Okay. You definitely notice Magnus's face drop a little bit at this, but he has his dignity, and he says, "Oh, Vendaval, you wound me. Come, please, sit down again."
Can I see why he's so? Has he said anything, or is he like? Is there anything on his person that seems a little suspicious?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
That's a 6.
Not particularly. He seems a little nervous from just kind of where you are. There's a lot of people here, etc., and what you're kind of implying. But there's also the room itself kind of has like large glass French doors that lead out onto the balcony. And he kind of just grabs onto your shield a little bit and tries to pull you back, just not gently. He's not like trying to like pull you back, you know. He's like, no, stay.
Do I see a lock on the door?
Yes, there is a lock on the door.
Okay, he says, Magnus, I enjoy this chase. I enjoy this sovereignty that you are putting on me. And he closes the door, locks it, turns around, and kind of whispers into his ear as he puts one of his arms around his back, and he says, I think maybe what you need is Vendival to help you get comfortable. And he starts helping him unbutton his clothes and his leathers.
Okay, and Magnus is like, oh, yes, all right, and he kind of looks down at the door that you've locked, and he's like, all right, and he kind of starts to move with you towards one of like the large, comfy chairs. What you gonna do?
So the the door is locked, and Vendaval is helping him get comfortable, and I think whatever happens next may be left to the imagination.
Okay. Absolutely. Then let's move on to Lorelei. You head towards the study with Matthias, and you have got you've also got a really good passive insight and pretty decent passive perception. So as you're walking along the hall, you notice that the floor, which is kind of carpeted, it's fairly clean, but there's a few things out of place, and especially being kind of an order person who's all about things in their place. You notice that the rug itself, it looks like there's like scuff marks on it. And you see like a small like drag mark, like something like dragged along the floor, like across the hall from this down the hall and out back towards where the balcony was. And it looks like it was something heavy. You can tell there's like a small, like you can tell that it's been mended, probably magically, but it didn't do a good enough job to disguise it from your eye.
So like something was drug out to the balcony?
Correct.
Where we were just at?
Correct.
Do I remember anything being there?
I mean,
heavy.
You did notice. I would say you probably would have noticed, because they're not hidden. You would have noticed 2 cannons. That, like, I mean, it's London. Who knows? But there wasn't a cannon. What's the word I'm looking for? Like enclosure, you know, the things that you would attack, that you put them into, that to properly mount them on a battlement. It's like someone just like dragged the cannons out onto the balcony.
Matthias?
Oh, yes.
Those cannons that were on the balcony.
Yes, not uncommon in London, but
they didn't seem quite properly placed, did they?
Why do you say?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how to explain what you were trying to explain.
Okay.
Because I as much as I would, I'm sure I give to the contrary. I don't work with cannons in my day-to-day life.
Right. Me neither.
But I'll explain that, and I'm like, I think it was struck from over here.
And he kind of looks at the ground, and then he kind of just gives you one moment and walks back and looks out on the balcony and comes back and is like, "You're right. They're not in any form of emplacement, and I mean the floor looks fairly nice. I do see the drag marks that you're talking about. But I don't know why you would drag cannons out there for a party."
It's surprising.
Yes. Well, would you care to try and figure out? We could always ask Shishito.
I'm sure she would just tell us, then it wouldn't be a surprise.
Perhaps. We could try and figure out where they came from.
Let's do that.
All right. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Natural 1. All these scuff marks right before a party. This isn't done.
Yeah, and there's lots. You start to notice, like, you start to get into like obsessive compulsive mode, and like you start to notice all sorts of other little things that like don't have anything to do with the cannon, but are like scuff marks, or like there's a peeling bit of wallpaper or stuff like that.
She is a new debutante. She needs to know that this is not acceptable. This isn't done.
And Matthias is like, I agree with you.
You don't understand.
I'm afraid I don't.
We are taught very many things. How to cook, how to clean, how to keep a household, how to fight someone off, how to fight zombies. We have to keep all of this to a very pristine standard. Why? And she's just like, yeah, she's obsessing.
Okay.
Like, this isn't good.
All right, we'll get back to Nicholas and Ambrose. You have noticed these tubes outside. What are you guys going to do?
I'm going to try and keep my eye on the doors and the entryways into the ballroom as best as I can, while trying to take stock of how many people may have brought anything resembling a weapon along with them.
Okay. Ambrose?
I think I could get out this window without being seen.
No. You're fairly certain it would be pretty obvious. I mean, it's not like you can't go back to the front door.
Yeah, with as little notice as possible, I'd like to make my way outside to investigate these tubes and see what's going on with it.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
Can I try and create a distraction to assist him in sneaking?
Absolutely. Go ahead and take that advantage there, Ambrose.
I'm going to pratfall to try and cause as much commotion and attention to me as possible.
Okay.
17 plus 8 is 25.
All right. So, Nicholas, your pratfall is glorious. You kind of go up to do like a little flourish or something to impress some woman, and you just fall on your ass, and it's just kind of knees akimbo, and sword skitters a little bit away from you, and your hat's kind of flooping over your face, all that good stuff. Ambrose, you are able to kind of make it outside. You actually are able to avoid double check because that would be crazy, but yeah, you're easily able to avoid the butlers and kind of make your way outside, and go ahead and make a perception check when you get outside for me.
3.
Okay. The courtyard itself is fairly quiet. You see the carriages are all kind of lined up along one area, and there's like 2 butlers that are kind of on top of the main gate they're still kind of keeping watch and whatnot. But you slink along the wall, and you come to the first tube. Go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
14.
Okay. You've seen something like this before. These are fireworks.
Okay. They're set to just like normal. There's nothing weird about how they're set up.
Nope. I mean, the only weird thing about them is that they're fireworks in London.
That's gonna draw
where there's a lot of zombies.
Yeah.
And you see them kind of all just lining the front side of the house.
Is there a whole lot of them or just a...
It looks like there's one tube about every 5 feet. And it's a pretty big mansion.
Okay. I want to disable them.
Okay.
I'm gonna cast Mage Hand.
Uh-huh.
And just basically send the Mage Hand to just knock them all out of their spots and down one end, and I'm gonna go down the other end and do it myself.
Okay.
Just kind of try to disable them.
All right. Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check for me.
Nine.
Okay. You're fairly accurate at snipping, kind of just like pulling the fuses out, and you're fairly confident you got all of them. You gonna do anything else?
Is there anything else out of the ordinary out here, or was that?
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
19.
Okay. You look up at because you're trying to kind of keep a low profile away from the guards or the butlers that are on the main gate, and you notice one do a very familiar movement. And then you kind of look at him for a little longer, and then you see him do it again. And you wait and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he does the movement again. And you realize that those aren't butlers that are on the wall. Someone has erected like scarecrows kind of up there that look like butlers who are kind of doing their job of keeping the horde at bay.
Shit. I'm going to go back inside and find.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
22.
Okay. You see Shishido kind of like talking to a few of her butlers, and you are able to avoid her as you head back into the main ballroom.
I would immediately look for Nicholas.
Okay. Nicholas, while he was gone, which was some time, what are you up to?
Just trying to play off the pratfall as you know, it not bothering me, which it doesn't because it was intentional, but
Mm-hmm.
trying to play it up and join in on some of the laughter and the jokes at my expense, stuff like that, while also trying my best to look as though I'm also participating in forfeits. So
Okay.
I'm not just like standing there not playing the party game.
Okay. Perfect. Let's see here.
One thing I do want to do while I'm doing this is I want to take a note of where my two possible courtships are. I
Okay.
want to try and keep an eye on them because something is up. I'm not sure what, and at the very least, I want to make sure both of them are safe, preferably, but at least one of them if I can keep safe.
Okay, yeah, I would say you've definitely been able to keep an eye on both of them. When you do your pratfall, Elsie comes over and is definitely kind of doing the laugh behind her hand thing, and she's just like, "Did you fall?"
Every time I look at a beautiful face, yes.
Huh. Well then, you must not fall very often.
Every time I look in a mirror.
Oh, you jest, surely.
Oh no, I'm quite serious. I'm devilishly handsome.
Devilish, that's for sure, at least. So, this is quite an interesting party. Shito usually has more wild things going on. I am surprised.
Oh, I wouldn't count her out yet. I'm sure there's something much more grand and extravagant planned for the future.
Really, do you think so?
It wouldn't be one of Shishino's parties if it weren't.
Well, try and stay on your feet, Nicholas.
I would say the same to you, but let's be honest, you've not been on your feet since I swooped you off of them.
Oh, swooped. Really? I think I am quite steadfastly on the ground, good sir.
You keep telling yourself that, but I'm not too sure. Your head is so far in the clouds.
And she kind of walks off, and as you are kind of continuing to kind of play along with the party game, Ambrose comes back in.
The fireworks.
Fireworks?
Fireworks.
I wish they had more clear.
I disabled them.
That's good.
Why would you want fireworks in a place like London?
Well, if... Oh, no.
Exactly. Also,
You don't think she honestly...
Yes, I do. The butlers. Are not
What about
butlers. They're not butlers. They're not.
Then
They're contraptions. There's no one watching.
there's no... Okay, we need to plan. Everyone in here is in grave danger.
Everyone.
I have a feeling that if worse comes to worst, you and I and our friends might be able to handle ourselves and get out of here safely, but the others I'm not entirely sure. We need to find out a way to begin a covert evacuation of sorts.
I agree. I feel that would draw a lot of attention. I don't suppose there's any way we can dissuade her of this silly plan.
She's already invested so much in this plan of hers, this surprise. I doubt anything could sway her from changing her mind now. And certainly if we were caught in trying to evacuate, she would simply try and spring it on us earlier than we could possibly imagine.
Proverbial rock and hard place.
Indeed.
Shall we spread the word then?
Discreetly.
Discreetly, at least the ones who look in fighting condition. So at least they're not caught unawares.
That's a good plan.
I've done what I could with the fireworks. Hopefully that will keep.
Speaking of those in fighting condition, have you seen Lorelei or Vendavel around? I've not seen them in some time.
I look around and no. Now that I think about it, no, I have not.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Loath as I am to admit it, there's safety in numbers in these situations.
Absolutely.
If they're alone, they're more vulnerable, at least if everything goes cattywampus. There are a few who could take the bite, as it were.
Yes. God, silly girl. Let's search for our companions.
Okay.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zoom in. Mouse.
I don't know how much you know of my escapades, but I'm quite adept at telling stories, especially ones that aren't entirely true. I could potentially try and convince everyone else that I've gotten word from our illustrious hostess to gather in a more safe area. Not in those words, but for our purposes.
Of course. I can corroborate that as well.
We can make do with that. At the very least, we can make airs as though this is the part of the plan for forfeits, while one of
yes.
us goes and searches out our friends.
I think bringing everyone together may be a good idea as well.
Then it is a plan.
You give your speech. I can start searching.
Very well. Godspeed to you, my friend.
And you as well.
Stay safe.
I start.
All right. Okay. Vendaval, your activities completed. Magnus and you are kind of dressing once again. And you're kind of finishing up. Go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
Yes. Hold on. Investigation. Okay. That's just a 10.
Okay. You had some fun, and you're kind of just looking around the room. Yeah.
He says, Magnus, as usual, I've had a very lovely night with you.
Indeed, sir. It has been quite fun.
But as you will very well know, making acquaintances and making pleasantries with people gives you many friends, and many friends gets you in very high places. Magnus, if you will forgive me, I must make my way downstairs.
Of course, good boy. I think I should make sure my face is known as well. Wouldn't be good to be absent too long. Shishito might notice.
If she has not already.
Indeed.
And Vendaval pushes his hair back, puts it back in place, and puts up his collar and puts his belt on and secures his shield and his sword, and he starts walking off. And then before he leaves, he kind of pops his head back into the room, winks at Magnus, and he says, "A pleasure," and leaves.
Okay.
Makes his way downstairs.
Okay. Lorelei, you're kind of freaking out over all of the small imperfections. And you start to hear you're kind of making your way, like, even though your initial plan was to try and figure out where this cannon came from, but you got distracted. But you're kind of moving down the hall and looking in rooms and seeing all of these imperfections and things that shouldn't be there. Go ahead. I mean, actually, with your passive perception, you notice like in some rooms you see like small bundles of like tied in burlap in like some of the corners, and they're just like, why would you have a bundle tied in burlap in the corner? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But you're kind of making your way back towards the stairs, and it's eventually like as you're approaching the stairs, you realize that the cannons got dragged up the stairs from downstairs somewhere, and out onto these balconies. And it's at this point in time that you see Vendaval kind of walking down the hall towards you, kind of just adjusting his shirt a little bit.
Signor De Santo, are you quite all right?
Miss Adler, I am doing very good. It's a very fine party that we are attending. How are you?
I've been better. I know something about what's going on here just flustered me a bit.
I'm sorry. What is going on?
I mean, I think some cannons were dragged onto the balcony and not properly placed, and I'm not sure why.
Is that peculiar for some reason? I'm sorry, I do not understand.
I mean, we're here to celebrate the debut of a young,
of course,
aristocrat girl.
Yes, Miss Shishito.
And none of her house is in proper order. This isn't done.
As I understand it, Miss Shishito Papyrus is a very peculiar lady. Can it not be that this is just her preference?
It isn't done.
It isn't done. Well, Miss Adler, I will take your word for it. Is there anything that I may do for you to put you more at ease? A drink, perhaps?
You know what? I think I could use a drink. Yes.
Come on, Miss Adler. And he presents his kind of his arm just to walk her over to wherever the refreshments are.
Okay. You descend down the stairs, and as you are kind of you kind of get down to the bottom, and you see the bar, and you kind of go over and get a drink, and you hear some of the butlers that are inside kind of start like ringing a little bell, and kind of as asking everybody to kind of gather in the ballroom to kind of the official debut of Shishito. So Ambrose and Nicholas, I guess Nicholas, you were planning on making some form of speech, and Ambrose, what was your plan on? What were you planning on doing?
Looking for the other two, Lorelai and.
Oh, okay. I would say that as you kind of worked your way back out there, you eventually get to the stairs and you see them kind of coming down and going to the bar, and you would be able to go ahead and talk to them if you want.
Yeah. Join in step with them and say, something is not right, my friends.
You're quite right.
There were fireworks set up outside.
Oh, fireworks. Very, very beautiful.
And dangerous in a place like London.
I see your point, Senor Dankworth.
Where were they set up?
Along the front of the house. I believe I've disabled all of them.
I noticed a couple of cannons on the balcony.
Why in the hell would there be cannons on a balcony in London?
Why would there be fireworks in the front lawn?
The butlers along the front are contraptions. They're not real. They're made to look real, but they're not. Something is very wrong. Like, this isn't some prank. Something is very wrong.
Senor Dankworth, what are you thinking? What? Excuse me, but this may be all very confusing, but I cannot seem to put them together in such a way.
I don't know why, and I don't know for what purpose, but it seems we were gathered here, and I don't know that we're meant to leave.
Okay. Is Shishido still around, or is she still gone?
She is currently gone. It's about this time that you start to hear the butlers kind of trying to gather everybody towards the ballroom. Nicholas, kind of rewinding just a moment, what are you attempting to do?
Is this before they start ringing the bells?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if I'm able to, before they start ringing the bells, because I wouldn't know about it, I want to get up on the stairs and try and gather everyone's attention and try and weave this story of I've received word from our lovely hostess, and it appears that her surprise may be upon us quite soon. It is indeed part of the game of forfeits. But, from what I understand, we need to be all together. We need to all be ready for anything. I hear it's going to be quite of a, how shall I say, the night is intended to go out with a bang of sorts.
And there's kind of general laughter.
If I may have the most capable of those of us who are most capable of combat, I have an idea with which to entertain our hostess when she comes back with forfeits. A surprise for her as well.
And you see a couple people in the crowd kind of raise an eyebrow at this. Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me. You are muted.
Okay, that's weird. All right. I rolled my first 20 of the night.
Nice.
That makes it a 27.
That explains your smile.
All right. So you see there's definitely a couple faces. I mean, there's the party's roughly 40-ish, 50-ish people. And you see, and you're kind of in the ballroom, and in here, there's probably at least like 30, 35 people. And you definitely see most of the kind of gentlemen. You see a large portion of them kind of all kind of look at there's some looking around like, all right, yeah, that's a good idea. And you definitely see some of the ladies kind of, a lot of them kind of going along like, yeah, Shishido's always surprising us. Let's spring one on her. So you've definitely got the crowd with you. What are you asking them to do?
Awesome. I'm asking them to ready whatever weapons they have on them, because I plan on leading them in a staged sword choreography of sorts, using my expertise as a swordsman.
Okay.
When I get a moment alone, I want to seek out my two lovely lady friends, specifically Susan, because I feel like she's possibly the most vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
and I want to approach her and actually let her know what's going on, but to tell her that to stay calm, stay quiet. I have a plan.
Okay. Go ahead and make another persuasion check for me.
All right. So that's 14 plus my bonus. 21.
All right. You definitely see the blood drain from her face a little bit at the mention of what you think might be happening, and she kind of nods and kind of you see her kind of position herself near to there's like a door that goes into the kind of like servants area that leads down to like a fortified cellar that most of these places have. And she definitely kind of places herself there. So you're planning on doing a kind of a sword dance with the other guests, just kind of as a
just an impromptu kind of surprise thing for our hostess.
Okay.
Nicholas personally is not expecting to actually have to do it, so he's just giving them a basic rundown of some simple moves.
Sure.
Kind of just some flourishes to, you know, make our hostess's night just a little bit better and a little bit of a cheeky surprise.
Okay.
His main plan is just to have everyone with their weapons ready.
Gotcha. So yeah, a lot of the men have kind of like loosened their swords in their sheaths, and some of them have kind of taken them out, and they've done a few little practice flourishes with you, kind of. And it's at about this time that you see a couple of butlers kind of coming in and start ringing these little bells and asking everybody to prepare for the debut of Shishito Papyrus. So you are all kind of brought back into this main ballroom, and you see that the butlers are going around and they are opening the windows, the fortified windows, just enough so that you can see out of them. And they've got a little archway kind of thing set up. Basically, once you're all kind of inside by the door that you entered, and as you are all kind of looking, the band starts to strike up like a lively little tune, and mist starts to pour through the door, and then this kind of wind starts to make a tunnel through this fog into like a perfectly spherical tunnel, and kind of sashaying down it is Shishito Papyrus in a very kind of flouncy, flowery dress, and she is just decked to the nines in jewelry, and just really overwrought. And the kind of head butler that introduced you when you came in.
We present to society Miss Shishito Papyrus.
And she kind of walks in and she bows to everybody and she goes, "And now I have a surprise for you all." And everybody kind of is expecting it. Are you going to spring your sword dance, or are you going to let her?
No, I would have told them in an effort to make sure that everyone is ready. I would have told them to wait until her surprise was sprung so that it was a reciprocal surprise.
Okay, gotcha. So she kind of just nods to one of to her head servant, and you see him get this very kind of Kif Croker-esque look on his face, like, and you see him turn and nod at one of the other butlers who steps outside, and you all see some flashes of light fly like underneath the windows because you're able to see through them, but nothing really happens. But but then and you see Shishido start to get a kind of like worried, little bit of an angry look on her face, and she's like, she kind of walks over to the window, and she looks out, and she goes, and you see she's getting a little bit angry, but then you start to hear it. None of the fireworks on the front of the house are going off. The fireworks around the side and the back of the house are still going off, though. So you're able to start to see these blooms of fireworks going off above the house. Not necessarily from the windows that she's at, but Shishido turns around and goes, well, they didn't all go off, but surprise, now we get to have a month-long party. And the butlers start to kind of close the windows and lock them again as everybody starts to realize what you already knew, that she's setting off fireworks in London. And she's probably trapped you in her house for a while. What do you guys want to do?
Jeez. I think that I will. Let's see who's closest to me, because Nicholas went to go do his little flourish, right?
I'm with you, and I assumed Lorelai was still with us.
Yeah.
Has it been an hour or longer since the last time we were in the carriage? Probably been a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Right? A lot longer than
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Geez, I really don't know. I'm just gonna pull out my my sword and my shield and just be ready for whatever's coming.
Okay. I mean, everybody kind of starts to freak out a little bit. A few people kind of run to the front doors, and you see them look outside, and when the doors open, you already start to hear the kind of low drone that you are all aware of, that kind of signifies that there's a lot of zombies coming soon. And they kind of slam the front door and bar it.
I start making my way towards Shishido.
Okay.
Not really sneaking. I'm just
Mhm.
line directly.
Okay. So what do you think of my surprise, Ambrose?
I
Please take off your glove and slap her.
I'm reading a thing. Hang on. Sorry. I'm going to look her dead in the eye and cast Charm Person.
Okay.
It's a DC 13 Wisdom save.
Okay. She very much does not save against it.
Perfect. Look her dead in the eye, and I'm like, "What is this? What have you done?"
Ambrose, I've created a wonderful atmosphere for a party that will last for at least a month. Maybe not that long, but
Why?
because I wanted everyone to have fun.
And do you think bringing zombies here is fun?
Well, no, I just think that will keep everybody here to have fun.
Call it off.
Well, I mean, I can't call off zombies. The fireworks have already gone off.
Where are all the butlers?
Oh, they're here. They're inside. I just didn't want them out on the walls. Daddy would be so angry if I lost another butler.
You're gonna lose a lot more than that. You know that.
No, we'll be fine. I put cannons up on the battlements.
Can we hear this conversation?
I'm not
Sure.
being quiet. Like, I want people to hear her say these things.
So when Vendival hears about those cannons that are up there, he's gonna make his way going up there to see if he can figure out how to use a cannon, maybe.
Okay.
This is stupid. And then
Oh.
I'm gonna click and pull my rapier out.
Ooh.
I hope you're happy.
Well, if
Hope you have a
everybody's happy.
great time. And then I walk away. Rapier in one hand and the rest of my cane in the other, which is it acts as a club, so I can dual wield. And I just start walking towards the door, wherever I hear the rumble.
Okay. You definitely hear. How long does Charm Person last?
Charm person lasts until the spell ends 1 hour.
Oh,
Or
okay.
until we do something harmful to it. Which...
Right. So, I mean, she's definitely like, all right, well, you have fun, Ambrose.
Oh. You're going. No, you're staying right here.
Oh, I know. We're going to play games.
Sure.
And some of everybody seems a little worried. The estate is well reinforced. There's not a lot of worry about them getting inside the estate necessarily, so much as it is, or like at least getting inside the actual front door. But it's more about the inconvenience of kind of being almost held hostage by this young girl for her party. The front door that you walk toward, Ambrose, I mean, it is like triple barred. You see the butlers are kind of changing out of what was kind of formal attire and starting to put on a little bit more serious attire. Is anybody else going with Vendival to inspect the cannons?
Yes.
Okay.
Lorelei is.
Nicholas, what are you up to?
I'm gonna try and just keep people calm and try and tell them some of my stories of how I dealt with things, not like situations exactly like this, but somewhat similar situations.
Mm-hmm.
Try and keep their hopes up and say, hey, listen, no matter what, we're gonna get out of this.
Okay.
And I can help us get out.
Go ahead and make a performance check.
Oh, thank God I rolled a 19. 23.
Okay, yeah. You definitely help the people who are not kind of prepared for this. You definitely help to calm them down. The ones who you had started to kind of already prepare. Some of them kind of give you a knowing nod, and they start to kind of move around the house. Some of them, a lot of people are still kind of just enjoying the party to some extent. People feel relatively safe inside here, but you see a few people a little worried. But Vendival and Lorelei, you guys are inspecting the cannons. Go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
14.
10.
Okay, they are definitely cannons, and I would say you are aware of kind of some of what needs to go into firing them, but not all of the specifics. Lorelei, Matthias does catch up to you as you guys are heading back up to the cannons, and you kind of see him shaking his head. Impetuous youth. So let's look at these cannons a little closer, shall we? And he kind of looks at them with you. And it's like, well, these are useful. I mean, we can definitely fire upon the hordes. I mean, it won't exactly be particularly accurate. And as you go out on the balcony and you're kind of inspecting them, you do start to hear more and more of the kind of droning moan of the zombies, and you start to see just kind of a little ways up the street from both sides, just slowly converging on this front gate.
Now, is it dark? Is it like, can we see all the zombies that are coming very clearly, or is it like dark out, or?
So
what's
it
our
is
vision?
dark out. I mean, it is evening, but London even now is lit to some extent. You can see that all of the street lamps that were along in front of the house are lit. So you're seeing like the front edges of this horde kind of coming into the light of these lamps, and then obviously the manor house itself is also well lit, and you see two butlers kind of you as you are kind of starting to inspect the cannons, you do see kind of a directional light start to search over the courtyard area, as you see a butler kind of standing behind like a magnification or directional thing. I think my cat just got stepped on. Kind of sitting behind, like a magnification thing, like casting a light spell and using it as like a spotlight on kind of the courtyard, keeping it well lit.
Okay.
And Shishido kind of flounces up here onto the balcony with you. So, shall we make bets? Who can kill the most zombies?
This is not up top, right? This is back inside with Shishido.
No, this is up top.
Up top? Oh.
Yep.
Well, Shishito, I knew you always had some type of crazy surprise, and I was not disappointed. If at the very least I shall make money from you.
I'm glad to hear that, Vendival. I'm glad to hear you like it.
I don't so much as like it as in I don't have a choice. Might as well make the best.
Oh, well, okay, but fine. But how about we? I've got a few of my friends who I've picked out. How about you and some of yours man that cannon, and we can man this one, and we'll see who can do who is better.
Miss Shishito, in order to finish off a bet, we need to know our stakes.
Of course. How about this? And she leans in close. I won't tell anybody what you did with Magnus.
Yes, it seems agreeable. The stakes. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And what would you like in return?
Wait, I'm confused. Isn't that what I would be getting her keeping my secret, or can I ask for more?
So so you're betting. So I mean, she has to bet something as well.
Okay. I don't know what to ask for.
You can consult with your friends if you'd like.
Miss Adler, is there any I can defer to you?
I just want to get out of here.
You shall
But
let
that's
us know.
not going to happen.
Okay. He's gonna ask for money.
Okay.
Pesetas, señorita. There's I may have a very wealth of riches, but you can never have enough.
Of course. Say 1,000 pounds.
1,000. I shall agree.
Wonderful. Well, you get your friends, and I will get mine, and we shall see who is the better shot.
Very well.
So she's going to go and gather 3 other friends, and you see it's her and 3 other women, and they kind of start to break themselves up into kind of tasks. Are you going to go and fetch Ambrose and Nicholas, or are you going to go with some of the other partygoers?
So I'll go down and grab them.
Okay.
And Nicholas, Miss Senor Dankworth, please, we need your assistance upstairs next to the cannons. Miss Adler will be waiting for you.
Cannons.
What's going on with the cannons?
Well, I just wanna.
We may or may not have made a type of wager with Miss Shishito, and
I know.
I am to win it.
Fucking games. Okay.
She likes games, and I
I've-
believe we can beat her at her own game.
We may be able to beat her now, but the cannons would surely attract even more attention from the undead.
I have planned for this.
Then what is your plan? Pardon my biting tongue, but what, pray tell, in the 7 hells is your plan?
May not be good plan, but you shall see. Meet Miss Adler upstairs.
Hey,
Going to choose to trust you.
You don't.
Of course.
I don't like where this plan is going. I want that to be upfront and clear.
I don't like anything about this entire evening.
Has not been great.
Well, I've had a few good times,
Well, it
but
was
yeah,
okay.
whatever.
Up until maybe 10 minutes ago. It was very relaxing, I would say.
That someone has had a good time.
I have. And I shall
Okay,
continue.
I'll assist you, but let me send someone up in my stead while I figure out a plan for if and most likely when this comes back to bite us.
I'll proceed upstairs.
Okay. Nicholas, what are you doing?
I just want to get the group of people that my posse
Mhm.
of sorts, my crew, and tell them we have a plan. We're trying to play our hostess against herself. In the meantime, teach as many people who aren't as well versed in combat as yourselves the basics of fighting the undead. If we need to make a run for it, we are safer in numbers, and we are safer moving slower with quick, precise strikes against any who approach us, and taking as much shelter as we can in some of the more ruined buildings if need be. So prepare for that inevitability if it comes up.
Of course.
Good. I figured you'd get a good laugh out of it.
So at this point, Vendaval starts walking towards the front door.
So I wanted to.
Oh, okay. So I mean the front door is like ultra locked.
Oh,
Yeah, like it's been barricaded to keep zombies out.
is there any way that Vendaval would know on how to exit?
Go ahead and make a history check for me.
History +3. That's only a 7.
You're pretty sure you're stuck in here.
Well, he makes his way back upstairs then.
Okay. Oh, there you are. So glad you could make it. Well, oh, and I see you brought my good friend Ambrose. Oh, how are you doing, Ambrose?
Been better.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What can I do to make it better?
Not summon zombies.
Well, that's done in the past. I'm sorry about that. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
But we can shoot them with the cannons.
Bring more of them. That's fine.
Oh, it'll be fine. We've got lots of cannonballs.
They have lots of zombies.
Vendivall
What
puts
do we-
his shield away and his sword away, and he just, without saying anything, he just starts grabbing cannonballs and starts getting them closer and closer to the cannons.
Okay. So for the cannons, you've got someone who needs to tamp the powder. Someone needs to load the cannonball. And then someone needs to kind of pick the angle of attack. And then someone will actually fire it. So who's doing what?
So if I fire it with Sacred Flame,
Mhm.
would that put some cool like radiant damage on this?
Oh, totally.
Okay, I'll light it then.
Okay. So we're gonna have
actually-
Lorelei light it.
I'm actually gonna cast Bless on Nicholas. Didn't come up, so just the three of us then.
Okay.
I came up. I just came up later.
Right.
Oh, you did come up. Okay, so
Yeah, it was just a matter of all right, telling people what the plan is. Here's the backup plan. Gotta go.
So then I'll choose my companions to cast Bless on, which gives you guys a D4 plus to your saving throws and attack rolls.
If I'm just lighting it, that's just a save, I think. So it might be better to bless yourself.
If that's a save, then you would still get the D4. Are we gonna be rolling for it or no?
I'm gonna have you guys roll checks. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But the save would be the cannon
Wait.
trying to save against damage from the Sacred Flame.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Then I'll keep it for myself.
Okay. Who's going to load the powder?
I can load the cannonballs because I was already grabbing them.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do either. I can do the powder or I can line it up. I'm not sure.
Okay. And Nicholas, which one would you rather do? Load powder or line it up?
I mentioned that I have a history of being on the high seas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Any of them that would probably be advantageous towards, but if we're going for I guess what the question is, are we going for loading them quickly or are we going for maximizing the impact of how many we hit per shot?
The other team does not seem like they are particularly trying to do things terribly speedily. It looks like they're going for accuracy. And as you guys are kind of deciding who's going to do what, Shishito comes over and goes, so best out of 3 cannonballs.
Landed and went into Ann Arbor.
Shall there be any other rules besides these 3? What is basically he's just asking, is there any other rules like to the games that she's playing besides the best out of 3?
Most zombies killed, best out of 3.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull out one of my javelins and cast my cantrip light on it, and throw it on our side, kind of like in front of us, as far as I possibly can.
Okay.
Actually, kind of not as far, but kind of like in front of us. That's pretty. Kind of be like a pretty nice line of sight for whoever's gonna be shooting.
Okay. So you see them kind of lining up their cannon. So if I could have everybody roll a d20. So for the loading of the powder, that would be, you can add your intelligence or your wisdom modifier. For the tamping down, it would be, or for loading the cannonballs and tamping down, that would be strength or dex. For the aiming, it would be intelligence or dexterity. And then for the actual firing, I would say that would be you can use whatever you want because you're just kind of setting it off.
Right.
Load, I
Okay.
tamp, you aim, she fires. Right.
I believe we have a system in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll load it up, and I'll use my strength. Is it a D20?
Yep, D20.
Okay, so that's 15.
All right. And
Tamp it in.
Mhm.
You said dexterity for that, right?
Yep.
And that's a 12.
Okay. I'm sorry. Benio, what did you get again?
15 total.
15? All right. Nicholas.
I got a natural 20 for aiming it.
All right. And Lorelei.
I'm going to use my spell attack for this.
Okay.
And that would be a 23.
23. All right. Yeah. So you both kind of both your team and theirs kind of take aim and fire, and you see theirs the cannonball like barely makes it to the zombies, and you see Shishido kind of furiously berating two of her friends who didn't seem to do a very good job of loading up the ammunition at all. You, on the other hand, especially with kind of putting some sacred flame spin on this firing, you see your cannonball arc out and just plow through just a ton of zombies and just utterly destroy them. I would say so. Right now, you do some quick math here. 5, 10.
It is currently a lot to 0.
Yeah, exactly. 40. So you guys took out about 70 zombies. They took out about 31.
Nice.
So go ahead and make your rolls for your second shot.
14.
18.
I don't like where this is going. Because I rolled the 2, so that's 4.
All right.
22.
22. All right. Some good rolls. All right. And what did they roll? And 17, so 14, 16, 24.
Oh wait, these are all saving throws, right? We should be adding our bless.
Oh,
There.
you're right.
Ability checks, yeah.
Yeah, they're all checks, yeah.
So
That
that one
matters.
actually makes mine a 17.
Okay.
Hashtag blessed.
All right, so they've taken out another. They took out about 50 in that one, and you guys took out a lot more than that. Let's see here. So that's 40, 57. So you took out about another 60 or so. They're catching up a little bit. They're still far behind.
Well, it was best out of 3 cannonballs.
And you see Shishido kind of get this look in her eye. Go ahead and you all can make a insight check.
Ooh.
only got a 13.
18.
11.
Oh wait, 13 plus 15.
All right.
28.
Ooh, interesting. All right.
I'm gonna keep this dice around. It's never rolled this well for me.
Nicholas, you see a gleam in her eye. You think she might try something. Go ahead and make your rolls.
Can I also roll a perception to see if she tries to like sabotage our shot somehow?
Sure.
Okay, so that'll be my aim. All right, cool. So to aim, I got a 18, and for perception to see if she's trying anything fishy, that is, where'd my perception go? 19.
Okay. For your you kind of get everything all get everything set up, and as Lorelei, you are going to fire. You see Shishido kind of do some magic with her hands, and you all feel a strong gust of wind kick up underneath your cannon, redirecting its aim. Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw for me, Lorelei, to see if you can get the shot off before she screws up the aim too much.
Do I got that paladin aura?
I think you also
aura protection, but that's just for AC. So
Hey, I believe in you. Here's some inspiration.
What is that?
and also
You can now add a D8 to your roll.
And Connor, you do still have an auto crit from chat.
That 13?
unless you want to use that auto crit.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't right
holding
now.
on to mine.
It is not enough. You kind of fire a little late. So what did you roll on your check there, Nicholas?
For
the fire.
aim?
Yeah.
For the firearm, I rolled a 19.
19? Okay.
Yeah.
So that is quartered because of what she did. Or no, thirded down to 5. Quartered the 19. Yes. Okay. There we go. I can do math. Really, I promise. So that leaves you guys with what exactly?
I
What did
rolled
you
a
get?
19.
19. All right. Nicholas, you get a 5. Vindeval?
I had rolled a 19.
19. Oh, right. Wow, you guys are still killing it. And Lorelei, what did you roll for the attack itself?
I rolled a 21.
21. All right. 18, 24 plus another 30, so another 40. So yeah, you guys did another about 65. Another 65 zombies. You guys, even with the adjustment of your cannon, you were accurate, like on all 3 shots. And you see kind of Shishido get like this kind of petulant child look on her face a little bit. She's like, well, fine. We agreed on 1,000 pounds. And she kind of goes over and one of the butlers brings up a little tray and offers it to you. And then before you can take it, she goes, double or nothing, 1 shot.
Vendival doesn't want to make this decision for everybody, so
Wait, hold on.
I'm not the one who got us into this in the first place.
Wait a minute, we're smarter than this. Did you bet we could kill more of the undead for £1,000?
We wouldn't have given up £1,000, but to answer your question, no. She bet us.
The bet was
And
that
that was your whole plan, was to just shoot the cannons, attract 1,000 more, maybe kill 200,
No, I had it.
and get out with £1,000 richer.
I had another plan, but the doors were locked, so here we are.
Of course the doors were locked,
So
silly.
you plan to leave?
No.
In the time it took us to do this, we could have opened the doors, fetched horses, and rode to safety.
We could have. But we did not. Here we are. Nicholas, have some pounds.
I can't spend them anywhere.
Not now, Nicholas. But eventually.
Hey. I can't fault your logic there, but that doesn't mean I'm happy about it.
At this point in time, Matthias kind of comes up to you all and is like, I think that the cannons aren't a bad thing, but they are definitely attracting attention. Lorelei, if I could bend your ear for a moment.
Of course.
And he kind of pulls you aside.
I'm dropping eaves.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check.
26.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got mostly eyes for Lorelei. He says, "This is definitely getting a little bit out of hand."
This
And
is already out of hand.
I appreciate you and your friends dealing with the young mistress. But I think that if we're going to set off cannons, we should either use them to signal or perhaps to, clearing the hordes is useful, but perhaps we can use them as a distraction. I know that...
Lure the undead and get out of by another means, or...
Yes, I'm fairly certain that this particular manor does have a bolt hole. I'm not sure where it leads to, but if you can buy some time with cannon fire or with whatever means you find available, I think we might be able to get out of here without having to. I think that the manor's walls will hold, but this is unacceptably risky.
Yes. So, but you're just going to go alone, scour the manor?
Yes, if you can buy me some time, kind of keep them at bay and further out, then I think that we can maybe get people out. I don't know what we're going to do about the young miss, though. I have a feeling she's going to be very strong-willed about leaving her party.
I'll handle her.
Do be careful. Her father is rather influential.
Yes.
And Ambrose, you hear pretty much all this.
Good luck, Matthias.
Thank you, madam. If if I may, I would like to call on you should we get out of this mess.
I would like that.
He kind of bows over your hand, gives you a crisp salute, and then you see him materialize this large black staff, and kind of his body just starts to shimmer with arcane armor. And you see him kind of stride off downstairs.
And she'll go back up. You said double or nothing.
Yes.
Wait a minute. What happened? What changed here?
I'll try to just kind of subtly give Nicholas a little just go with it.
Okay.
Now tell me, what exactly was bet during the last time?
Your friend Vendival wagered something quite personal, but I think for double or nothing, we will need something else from the rest of you. Perhaps you could meet the wager, or perhaps something a little more personal. I do enjoy some entertainment.
It's your party.
Well then, perhaps, what can I ask of you? Oh, I know.
Are we still friends? Or charmed person? Is she still charmed? Okay.
Oh yeah, she's still charmed.
Oh, that's what
Perfect.
you meant.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
I don't know. Are we?
Yes, Dan, we are friends. Why?
She looks at you, Nicholas, and goes, I think if you lose, you should have to go down and plant a big old kiss on Elsie.
Very well. That
right in front
Win-win.
of... Now I have to remember the name that I came up with. Susan. Yes.
Well, tally ho.
All right. And you're going to see her turn to her friends, and you're going to see.
Here is my condition. I saw what you did. Suddenly I'm Cockney. Never mind that. I saw what you did. If we're to do this wager, it's going to be fair and square.
Of course. I've seen that you've been using a little magic as well. Perhaps we can use some on our cannon.
As long as you keep it to your cannon, I have no qualms.
Oh, okay. Very good. And you see her kind of turn back to her friends and nod. And you see them all kind of materialize wizard staffs. Double the nothing. So they are going to make their roll. And you're going to see one of the women. She is going to kind of just start moving, and like gunpowder is just going to like fly into the cannon, and then the cannonball is going to go in and like kind of tamp itself down.
As I'm seeing them do that, I'm gonna cast command on the one with the cannonball. I'm gonna say drop. So they gotta do a wisdom saving throw of 14.
Okay. They do not make their save. So they drop it. And then Shishido turns to you and just got like death glare eyes.
When he does this, I'm going to move the aim. I'm going to drop the aim of the cannon just a little bit to make it look like he was saying drop the aim.
Of your cannon.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
Okay.
Nicholas.
So-
Very
so
Go
it
ahead and
wasn't
make a
dropping the-
deception check.
All right.
Can I say anything to help? Nicholas, good job. Yes, drop the aim.
Okay, so that's a 4 plus a 17.
Oh, okay.
4 plus 17.
I said it backwards. I rolled a 17 plus a 4.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was gonna
don't.
say you're level 6. How do you have a plus 17? I mean, I know bards can do some crazy stuff, but
Plus your bless.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, what's the bless change? Isn't just
D4.
it's a D4.
4? Okay. Oh boy. So that's 17 plus 8 total.
Okay. So she definitely gives you a death glare, Vendival, but then she sees what you're doing, and she kind of turns back to her cannon. You notice that. Let me see here, because there's the three. There's would they notice dropping? So you do see that they kind of dropped the cannonball in, and you notice she just kind of didn't tamp it down, because you just said drop it, and she's kind of dropped it in. So I mean, the cannonball is in the cannon, but it isn't properly like settled or anything like that. You're going to see one of the other ones. She is going to. She basically, like, you see her kind of like take out her arms and creates almost like an arcane telescope, and you see her just kind of like looking through it and slowly adjusting the lift of the cannon. And then see here. So there was, okay. And then the last, Shishido is going to place herself by the cannon itself and kind of look over at you guys as you prepare. So go ahead and give me your 3 prep rolls.
I've one question. Can I murmur as if I'm figuring out my trajectory? And in my murmuring, cast dancing lights to distract the aimer on their team just a little bit.
Interesting. Make a sleight of hand check.
Because I'm not trying to be like dancing lights around them. It's like catching their eye to make them just a little bit off kilter.
So like, where would the dancing lights be?
So the range is 120 feet, and it would be like towards the ground, and a little bit to the right, so that to get their just attention to like, hey, there's some movement down in this direction. Maybe get them to aim more towards a building than a horde.
Gotcha. Just make it a little distracting.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you get on your sleight of hand check?
Sleight of hand. 18.
Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. You're kind of murmuring to yourself as this is all going on, and you kind of pop your dancing lights out basically almost at the very edge of the range, and you're just kind of like just moving them around just out of the line of sight of this woman, so that they're kind of, it's just dragging her eyesight a little bit in one direction as she's kind of seeing some movement. So prep roll, Mendival.
I got 16 total.
16. All right. And Ambrose. 15. All right. And Nicolas.
I also got 15.
All right. This is going to be a close one, folks. And cool. So For the final roll, you see Shishido look over at you, Lorelei, and kind of get like a little bit of a haughty, kind of imperious little kind of look on her face, and you see like a crack of lightning. You see her kind of raise up her hand, and you just see a crackle of lightning bolt down from the clouds to her fingers, and she just touches it to the wick and fires. And what did you get, Lorelei?
I'm gonna use my crit.
Awesome.
Nice.
Go ahead and describe to me what she's kind of tried to just one up you. What are you doing?
So she just this girl's doing the lightning crackle, and I'm just like touching the wick. Then it ignites, but it's this like golden silver light that just like causes an holy explosion within the cannon.
Nice. So yeah, you see Shishido do this kind of very flashy lighting of her cannon, and they were much more accurate this time. You think maybe they were trying to shark you a little bit, but Lorelei steps up to the cannon and just gracefully touches the ignition, and you almost see like bands of like golden light like wrap the cannon, and it just fires, and it's just like a gold tracer going out, and it's got some spin, and you see it like hit the ground just in front of this column of zombies and just start to like do that like bouncing, skipping thing that cannonballs can do when they hit the ground, and just like it's just doing like crazy twists and curves and all sorts of crazy destruction as it just totally destroys this column of zombies. And you see Shido kind of look over at you, and there's definitely, I mean, at least at Lorelei and everybody but Ambrose, she's got a little bit of a stink eye towards, but she kind of snaps her fingers, and a butler brings another bag of gold over, and you can see that the horde has now kind of started to surround the manor house a little bit. There's more that are getting close, but you see some of your other fellow party goers are kind of out on some of the other balconies and are just kind of laying down fire with various spells. You see a couple of them have longbows. Many of them have like a wizard staff out and are just kind of like constantly dropping a small rain of fire bolts and other various cantrips on these groups. And it's about this time that you feel like you all kind of drop some cantrips or some bolts on the zombies, and you're just kind of holding things down. And about 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes pass, and then Matthias comes back up onto the balcony, and you see him kind of storm up to Shishido. Your father will hear of this. And she goes, hear of what? And she's acting kind of very innocently. And he goes, you melted the door. We can't get out the bolt hole, can we? And she kind of, I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on. Yes, you do.
Well, fine, Ambrose. Yes, I did. But if everybody was just going to leave, what would be the point of this all?
That's what you do after parties end. You leave them.
Oh, but it won't. But it's not over. We still have plenty of time.
Under my breath, I'm like, stupid girl.
This party.
How many more games did you have prepared? How long would you intend to keep this up?
Oh, at least a few days.
Matthias, show me this store.
Yes, this way. And he leads you all downstairs into the basement. Basically, there's a kind of a way through the cellar. And you see at the end of a hallway, you see a large iron door. You see the area kind of around the door has kind of like scorch marks, and you can see that it's like partially melted in its frame. It's not like destroyed or anything. It's still solid, but you can see that like the seams have almost fused.
Mm-hmm. All right. So here's the plan. Did anyone else follow me, or is it just Matthias and myself?
I would have followed you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all would have.
I have a plan. I know one spell that might be able to get us out of this. You know what? Let's call it what it is, a foster clock.
Right.
I just need an hour.
An hour?
I need an hour. I need an hour uninterrupted. I can cast Glyph of Warding on this door.
How will that get us through?
It'll weaken the metal. If it doesn't get through, then I'll cast Shatter on it, which will finish the job.
I'm willing to say that maybe just cast Shatter now.
That's the thing. I've only got one use of Shatter at its most powerful potency for myself.
Forgive me for saying so, but maybe now's not the time to save such a spell.
Here's the thing. With Glyph of Warding, I can either use the spell to melt away some of the metal and weaken it that way, or I can use it to super cool the metal or heat it up. Now, if anyone else has a spell that does either fire or cold damage, I can superheat it. We can cool it down, making it extremely brittle, and then I can shatter it with no problems whatsoever.
Matthias looks at you and says, I can make it cold.
I want
Excellent.
to inspect the door to see if there's anything else going on here, or if it's just a plain door that's been sealed.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Good call.
24.
All right. You walk up to the door and you start inspecting around the seams and looking at them, and it comes back to you that she's an air genasi. How is she wielding all of this, the kind of fire she would have needed to weld this door? And you're kind of inspecting, and you're feeling like what you see, but then you kind of move your hand a little bit, and your hand goes through the door a little bit, and you can tell that there's some form of illusion on this door.
I'm gonna feel to where I think the doorknob would be, or the latch or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna try to just open it through the illusion.
You reach down and you grab this this handle, and then you all see this mangled door just open perfectly naturally as the illusion fades away. And you have an escape route out.
Well, Mr. Dankworth, I was certainly not expecting that. Good
Nor was
job.
I. I was rather hopeful. Is that one?
Very keen eye you have there, Senor Dankworth.
And as you kind of are able to open this door, Matthias goes back upstairs and starts to gather the guests, and everybody kind of starts to filter down here and head out. Shishido is definitely a little bit pouty and kind of very just like, you're ruining my party.
You know what? Give me that hour anyway. I've got a better plan.
What's your better plan?
Let's talk this out.
I'm going to gather my friends around. I'm going to cast Glyph of Warding on the damn door any goddamn way. And I'm going to shut it behind me and leave her in here. And when she goes to open it, boom.
Or, Senor Sweet, or I can cause distraction while you get horse and help people get away.
Well, we're all going down the hole, so.
We're gonna hole, you said? I thought we were going out the front door.
No, it's a side. It's a
My
secret.
bad. Okay, my bad.
It's like a bolt hole underneath the.
Okay. Let's just pretend Senor DeSanto didn't say any of that.
Say any of what? I'm very confused.
I don't believe leaving a trap for Miss Shishito is maybe the best for.
You would be sentencing her to death,
future.
and that's. She's a foolish girl, but she doesn't deserve that.
She tried to kill all of us.
She tried to trap us here.
She tried to hold us hostage. That's quite different.
She will answer for this, but not with her life, surely.
I'm not willing to taint my reputation as for her mistake.
We're all far more forgiving than I am.
Vendaval, you all are kind of helping people kind of go down and get out. Vendaval, make a perception check to see if you can avoid your loves as you are as they are being left.
Perception. Oh, that's right. I only have a +1. That's just a 13.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of people moving through here. You're pretty good at kind of being quite the Lothario, so you're able to give them the slip, and the rest of you are all able to follow people down this bolt hole away from the Papyrus Manor that is now thoroughly surrounded by zombies. And you eventually, the bolt hole kind of comes to like a guard outpost, like an underground kind of guard outpost, where the rest of the guests are able to find various accommodations to head out from London. You, as you are all preparing to kind of leave, you do see a very large Scottish man come tearing into this kind of guard outpost, and he's wearing a kilt, and you just see him kind of wild-eyed, and he goes up to Shishito and he goes, "Fireworks! What the? God, you've got too much of your mother in you!" And you just see him start to just tear into his daughter. And I think that is where we will end this Pride and Prejudice and Zombies one shot. It's very fun. I hope you guys had fun too.
Sure.
That was a blast.
So yeah, this is our extra live stream. We are collecting donations. I know that some people have donated. I think we've already blown through our second goal. I think I saw that we're up to
600.
Yeah, we're up to 600 of what we had said. So that's great, but keep them coming. I know in about 45 minutes or so will be the next stream, which is going to be a lot of fun. And why don't we go ahead and sign off? Let's start with you, Ambrose.
Hello, I'm Dan Rand, everywhere on the internet, mostly on Twitter and Twitch. And you can find me here on this channel on Monday nights with Fates Chosen. And I'm also on Welcome Party RPG's Twitch channel on Friday nights with a 5e homebrewed 7th Sea pirate campaign.
Ooh.
So it's 7th Sea world with 5e mechanics.
Pirates.
And we're pirates. And it's a blast. And this was a lot of fun. So much fun. This was great.
Vendival?
Hi guys, I'm Juan Carlos. I am Sombrero on Twitter and any other social media. And I am going to be on next Sunday on the Open for Adventure, the new Open for Adventure campaign with a couple other Sunday friends. And I run my own podcast called the Paradise Podcast. So if you want to check us out, I DM for them. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. Never been able to seduce 3 different people at the same time before, so that was the first.
Oh
one.
man, I was waiting to see how badly this would go, and you pulled it off, and I'm so impressed.
That's not normally how I would play a character. But
You did a great job.
You put me
Yeah,
there,
it was
and it was fun. So
Nicholas.
Hello there. I'm Aaron. You can find me on Twitter at Taldoz1 TAD. Wait, no, I misspelled my own name. Oh no, TALDOZ1. I do a lot of art stuff. I've been teaching myself character art since January, and I've been doing fantasy maps for about 12 years now. So if you like that kind of stuff, come check me out. I hang out in.
They are amazing, especially if he shows them on our Discord sometime, and the maps are very impressive.
So good.
Thank you. If you just want to chat and hang out, I'm on the Discord all the time. I have no real life. But I played Nicholas Sweet tonight, a half-elf bard who I've been playing on and off for about as many years as I've been making maps.
Nice. And Lorelei.
Hi, I'm Connor.
Oi!
You can find me on the internet everywhere at Cyberwolf1, CYBRWULF1201. On Twitter, I shitpost and talk about the stuff that I'm doing. Like whenever I go live on twitch.tv/Cyberwolf1, where I play video games badly. But I talk about lore, because, it's fun.
I do love me some lore.
Wait, do you talk about lore of the games you're playing or lore of stuff you're creating?
The games I'm playing.
Oh, that's cool.
awesome.
And sometimes I talk about how you can spin it for your own D&D stuff.
That's awesome.
I also like D&D. I play on twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures on Mondays in a homebrew campaign and on Thursdays in a Ghost Saltmarsh game. And I do an RPG podcast with Kyle with an N called Let's Talk About It, where we get drunk, do parkour, and talk about RPG stuff. It's a good time.
Wow.
You can check that out on youtube.com/Cyberwolf1 or on anchor.fm and iTunes and Google, wherever. Yeah.
Very cool.
This has been a good time. Lorelei got herself a new man's. It's been great.
I successfully avoided all of mine.
I accidentally chose one of mine.
We completely avoided my ex-fiance, so it's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I avoided him too.
Yeah, you did.
Man,
So,
Lorelei and Vendaval were the breakaway characters for this game, I think. They were just so much fun.
Yeah.
You guys were all great.
I think everybody did great.
20 out of 10 would play with this group every day.
All right. And I'm Morgan. I was their DM tonight. I occasionally guest star on Open for Adventure on the Monday campaign as Alexander Lightbringer. Who knows? Maybe I'll show up on the Sunday campaign eventually. And this has been Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And look forward to seeing everybody in 45 minutes for the next stream.
Yeah, stick around. There's going to be a lot of more stuff happening tonight. Hopefully we can... I challenge all of you right now. Break 650. I challenge you.
I think if we
Do
made it to 600 by now, we can definitely get to 650.
Yeah,
Do
I
it.
think I think our challenge
Do
is
it.
we need to see if we can't get to 1,000 tonight.
Do it.
That would be
I
amazing.
think it's doable.
Do it.
Yeah, I think
Do
it's just
it.
Veils and Vengeance next, and then the
And
celebration.
then just the party, yeah. So all right. Thank you, everybody.
It's been great.
Peace.